Yeah. Terrorists. BMT. Is my baby mama terrorist? I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in the cold. It's my baby mama terrorist. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama terrorist. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in the cold. It's my baby mama terrorist. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama tear. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in the cold. It's my baby mama tear. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama tear. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in the cold. It's my baby mama tear. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. Ride around, try to play the role as innocent with an evil soul. In public, when fake hello, behind closed doors, she rock them horns. I'm moving up, she's gonna teach me a lesson. Can't see my kids, my man, I'm stressing. Couldn't see my son to give me his present. She got married to teach me a lesson. Telling her people she did nothing wrong. Knowing that well since I moved on. Thought that clip would keep me home. Hell no, bitch, I'm gone. I don't know what you lost your mind. Try to say my name, I know your kind. Say my baby, bitch, you mine. Fight me in court, man, I'm trying to be a father to my kids. She focus on the wrong shit. Worried about another bitch. Stand up, us co-parent. Put my kids in grown folks' business. Tell them lies, bitch, you wicked. Split from now till yeah, you twisted. Never thought I'd go through this. It's my baby mama tear. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in the cold. It's my baby mama tear. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama tear. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in the cold. It's my baby mama tear. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama tear. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in the cold. It's my baby mama tear. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama tear. I'm on child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in the cold. It's my baby mama tear. She be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup.
Stand, please. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. This honorable court now stands adjourned, sine die. God save the state and this honorable court.
Yeah. Y'all may be seated up in this court. Shout out to the Baby Mama Terrorist Bounty Hunters. I'm your host, Mr. Palmer, and we're going to have a good dialogue today, and I'm going to tell y'all why. I got the lead attorney up in this building. Yeah, I've been cooking. I've been cooking for the last couple of weeks. I heard about this brother sometime last year, and I was scrolling my YouTube, and I saw what he was talking about. I said, that's the same thing I'm talking about, this child support. You know, yeah, these baby mama terrorists. So I reached out to him, and I remember him telling me, he was like, I'm just starting, which he did. He said, I'm just starting. He said, I'm not even too familiar with YouTube. Let me get myself in order, and I'll get back to you. So down the line, you know, I'm doing my thing. I'm on YouTube and put it out there. And then O'Shea Duke Jackson told me that he did an interview with him. And he was like, reach out to him. I said, yeah, I remember the lead attorney. I know the lead attorney did a lot of original. Sent me an email, said, you need to meet him. And she didn't realize that I already talked to him or know about him. I said, cool, let me go back and reach out to this brother. Then his platform just grew, man. He over 10,000 subscribers. He's still preaching the truth. He's doing the Lord's work. He's been in the game about close to 20 years. I believe 19 and a half years. He's from Georgia. and he's telling everybody the real from a lawyer aspect, and he's telling y'all the real. And the reason why I want him on here, one, you can hear from somebody who's been in the trenches, who dealt with this system, worked for the system, worked for the baby mama tears, worked for the father, and so on. Because a lot of stuff that I say, you got these baby mama tears, these sympathies to tell me that, oh, it's just because you don't want to be a father. Oh, it's because you want to be a deadbeat. You don't want to spend money on your kids. You run for child support and everything else. And that's fine because it comes with the territory. But one thing you still cannot do is call me a liar. So without further ado, I definitely want to bring in my brother, my homie, the lead attorney. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me on, Mr. Palmer. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you. I want to say you also doing the Lord's work. You've been on here for what, 6 months, if that? And
yeah, I've been followers. Yeah, I've been on YouTube for like a year now, almost like like 13 months.
Don't seem like it, man.
The issue is that I wasn't really making a lot of content. All of 2020, I only made like 11 videos, so it was kind of hard to.
So that's what it was.
I was lazy, man. I was lazy.
I heard that.
And so I said, no, I'm gonna really start it up this year. And I saw you way back. I think we might have kind of because you started last year too, right, or a couple years ago.
I started last year.
Yeah, and all YouTube sends me is really like videos on marriages and divorces and relationships with child support, because that's what I do.
Right.
And I saw you, and I started watching some of your videos, and what really caught my eye was just the knowledge that you had. You're not an attorney, but you know how the system is. Right. And the vast majority of people, both men and women, really no one knows what's going on. Maybe a guy has a particular case where he's getting screwed up with child support, or a woman's got a couple of kids, but no one really knows how it works in general unless they are an attorney. And so when I saw your channel, I'm looking at a man who's not an attorney, but who understands the system about how child support works, which was awesome. It was absolutely awesome to me. You got your own style.
I was gonna say controversial, right?
Yeah. You do got your own style. You got your own style. But I will tell you that style is so justified in so many cases, because child support is absolutely ruining some men's lives. It really is. And you don't hear about it enough. And as soon as you say something about it, you instantly get attacked if you're a man. If you're a woman and you start complaining about child support, no one has a problem with it. Halle Berry's been trying to get her child support reduced for 6-7 years, and no women are like, hey, you're trying to take money out of women's mouths. No, it's all, well, men need to stand on their own 2 feet, and men shouldn't have to get child support from a woman. But when you reverse it, you're immediately a deadbeat.
They finally lowered it too.
Yes, they finally did. So I can
$8,000.
Yes, which is still, but let's be honest. I mean, $8,000 for a child.
A lot of money.
So, but yeah. So I love the fact that you are out here letting people know what the real deal is, and I think that's fantastic. And I really think you're the only one who's doing it, and you're certainly doing a great job. I saw you today. I was telling you before we started that I saw you today. You were out there cleaning up some confusion. And some men, I know you go at the women, but you see it too. Like even men are confused about how the system works. Yeah. And so you are really educating everybody.
We definitely gonna talk about that. I want to give a shout out to Judge Vonda B up in the building from Support Court, who is running for judge, who's going against a baby mama tears in Texas by the name of Kim Cook. And soon we will be cooking on that ass. Shout out to you. Want to give a shout out to Jeremy for the $10 donation. Appreciate you, brother. Yes. And people that don't know who the lead attorney is, I know a lot of y'all do, but just in case, the link is right here. Please subscribe to him, because if you want to get some knowledge on the law aspect, he can definitely tell you and teach you.
Yes, and let me jump in. Let me shout out to Gail too, because Gail for so long was my only one. She was my only moderator. She was holding it down. Thank you so much, Gail. And also to Judge Vonda, please come on the show. Come on my show. Let me chat with you too. I saw you on here. I saw you on Uncle D's, Dennis Sperlin's channel.
Right.
Let me do my part too to get your word. I know I'm not a big YouTuber, right? But anybody that we can reach to let the people know what you're doing out there and how we need people like you to be judges. You know, we've got some terrible judges in the system.
Yes,
and
sir.
so anybody that we can have like you that's on the bench is a huge service to the whole community. So please come on my channel and let me sing your praises.
I will. You know what? I will send her your email.
That would be great. That would be great.
Right after this, say no more, because we definitely need to put it out there and continue to spread the Lord's word. I want to give a shout out to OJ Ray for the 1999 super chat. Appreciate you, my brother. Now, what I want to ask you, well, not ask you, I want you to tell everybody where you're from and what you do and everything. Tell them your history.
Absolutely. I am born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, down here in the South. All right. And I'm not sure how it is in other states. I've never gone to court in other states, but I'll tell you down here, especially maybe 10 years ago, but you still see it today. We've got this whole Southern thing where it's kind of like a damsel in distress. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these older judges, especially the older men judges will really kind of put women on a pedestal thinking that they need all of this help because, you know, they're just women, right? They're just ladies. And they will really prop them up, and they do it at the expense of men. But I have been a family law attorney for about 20 years, about 19 and a half, 20 years. And I handle all types of family law cases. So we're talking about divorces. We're talking about child support. We're talking about child support modifications, alimony, property division, all of that. I'm also what's called a guardian ad litem, which means that I am an attorney for children. And I can represent 17-year-olds one day and then turn around and represent a 6-month-old the next day. And then I'm also a mediator. I have the highest classification in Georgia for mediators. It's a specialized domestic violence mediator. So I really handle all issues related to family law. Okay. And that's what I do on a daily basis. So because I've been doing it for so long, about 2 decades, I see so much. And one of the reasons that I started a YouTube channel was really, again, for the misinformation that you're fighting, Mr. Palmer. I mean, so many people don't know what's going on, and there are not a lot of people in the manosphere, not a lot of people in the red pill community who really know the law, right? And there's no shame to them because they're not attorneys. But you'll have a man in the manosphere, a man in the red pill community, and he'll start up a YouTube channel, and he'll know about his divorce case, and maybe he'll know about his friend's divorce case, and then maybe he'll know about the guy at the gym, his divorce case. So he knows about 3 divorce cases, whereas I can do 3 divorce cases in a day. And I've been doing these things for 20 years. So I have a lot of experience and a perspective that you're really not going to see. And usually when I hear people talk, one of the biggest things that's out now is about how prenuptial agreements don't work. And that's terrible. It's terrible. If you hear anybody say that, you just need to know that that's false. Prenuptial agreements work. They absolutely work. But you have to draft them the right way. So that's why I started this channel, to kind of dispel a lot of the misconceptions that there are, and to really talk about what people are going through, because a lot of men are suffering, and it doesn't get talked about. And when it does get talked about, it's almost like a shameful type of thing. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. That's my background, and that's kind of why I started the channel. Okay, so is you still a lawyer, or you still doing family court? Yeah, I'm still an attorney, still practicing, still doing this on the side, which we were talking about before. I only did 11 videos last year. That was why, I didn't find that balance. But really now, I really want to focus in. I know a lot of people need this information. I've gotten some really great subscribers, great comments, people saying, "Hey, keep going, put out the content." So your man O'Shea Jackson puts out like 5 videos a day. Man,
he's working. He out here
working.
That's that level. Now
it's crazy. I don't know if I can do that, but MTR, Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews, he puts out 2 videos a day, and he has a full-time job, so it's possible.
Yeah, he's corporate.
Exactly. So
we busy.
Yes. So I need to look at these men, and really get inspired from them.
Yeah, I remember when I started, I was only doing like once a week, twice a week, and then I got to the point where I was able to do it. I tried to do it once a day, and maybe at least 5, 6 days out the week. I'm stepping up and do more commentating as well.
Yes.
Want to give a shout out to Vonda B, Judge Vonda B, for the $10 donation. I appreciate you, sister.
Yeah, Judge, come on the show. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'll make sure as soon as I get out, I'm sending her the email. She'll be glad. She definitely coming around the universe of the YouTube and social media. Now let me ask you this. You know how I feel about these alienated baby mama terrorists and setting men up for failure, going to court for failing relationships or divorce. You being a lawyer representing fathers that you knew that they're getting screwed by the system. Give me one of your worst experience dealing with a father that just got railroaded.
Man,
I know you got a lot.
There's so many, and it comes in so many forms. Really one of the worst types of cases is, and I kind of saw this on the show that you were on today, where you talk about men fighting for 50-50.
Right.
And that's a real thing. And it's shameful that in this country, a man has to fight just to get 50% of the custody of his children. But a lot of men are smart, right? And a lot of men and a lot of attorneys, listen, there are good attorneys and there are bad attorneys. And there are attorneys who will say, listen, pay me $10,000, just give me $3,000 right now and we'll fight for custody. We'll fight for custody. And the person, pays the $3,000 and then pays 7 more and then pays, 5 more. And now that he's in $15,000 in the hole, the attorney comes back to him and says, hey, I know we got trial coming up next week, but it's not looking good. So maybe we just need to settle the case, right? After he's been paid the $15,000.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. But all good attorneys will kind of let you know what the deal is. They'll listen to your case. There are a few cases where a man can make out a claim for, 50-50 custody or even full custody. If the mom is in and out of jail, if she's on crack rock, if she's the allegations of abuse, or if she's run off with a boyfriend, you see that a lot. Then a man can make a strong claim. But that really is only going to be, 1 or 2 cases out of 10, right?
Exactly.
And so a lot of men will come in and they'll say, I want to fight for custody, and you got to set them. You really have to set their expectations. You have to teach them about what the reality is. And a lot of men, once you explain that to them, they'll say, listen, I don't have $15,000, $30,000, $50,000 to spend trying to fight for 50-50 and then lose, because that's a huge misconception. A lot of people think, oh, you didn't fight for your kids, you didn't fight for custody, you didn't put down the $25,000, not realizing that a man can pay $25,000 and the result is absolutely the same. It is the same thing. The only thing that's different is now the man is out $25,000, and so now he's having a harder time paying the child support, right? So now he's in more of a risk of going to jail, more of a risk of having his license suspended, more of a risk of having his bank accounts garnished and frozen. So a lot of men are just like, hey, I came in and I wanted to know about fighting for 50-50 custody, and now you told me the law. You've listened to my case, my circumstances. The mom is, she's a mediocre mom. She's fine. She's not great. She's not horrible. She's just fine. And you told me basically, I can try for it, but, I only have a 10%, 20% chance of winning. I'm not going to go down that road and spend $25,000. Right. And so it seems like they're not fighting for their children. But what people don't know is they never really had a chance, right? That's what people don't understand.
Thank you.
So for the worst cases are where a man, and this doesn't necessarily happen to me. It's happened to me before, but I really try to let men know what the deal is. The worst case is where a man says he wants to fight for custody, and then we get into this battle, and he's not making enough money. And he's paying you to work, and you're working the case, and then you send him a bill for the next month, and he's like, I'm out of money. amount of money, can you work for free? Now, the lead attorney, just like everybody else, I'm not going to work 7 more months in your case for free, right? But he says, you told me in the beginning what it was, and I thought I could do it, but now I can't do it. And I don't like the way this is going. Maybe the guardian ad litem is against us, and I have to stop, right? And so he spent $15,000 or $7,000 or $20,000, and he's not going to get the money back because we've done the work. And he ends up with the same custody that he had that he was going to get when the case was going to start. Even if he had agreed in the beginning, just to the little 20% visitation that he was going to get, or the 25, however much possession or visitation or parenting time he was going to get. That's really terrible, especially because let me tell you something. If a man puts down, $10,000, $15,000, he really wants to spend time with his kids. It's not like, he just paid $20,000 and lost, like he went to Vegas and lost the money. No, he was fighting for something. Right. He was fighting for his kids. And so to really fight for it and to prove that you're fighting for it, to prove that you want it by spending $20,000, and then you end up losing the money and accepting what they were going to give you in the first place anyway. That's terrible. And it really, and honestly, it really doesn't have much to do with the women. It's the system.
It's the system.
Exactly, because if the system were fair, then who cares what the women think, right? Who cares if the women object? If the judge starts off by saying, "Okay, Mom, Dad, what do y'all got to say?" But I'll let you know before anybody opens their mouth, before anybody says a word, I'll let you know that I am starting off thinking that we're going to do 50-50. Now, if somebody has a problem with that, I'll listen, right? And if there are reasons, I'll take them into consideration. Right. We aren't necessarily going to do 50-50, but we're absolutely starting off with 50-50. If a judge would say that, it doesn't matter what the women say.
Exactly.
But it's the system. But don't get me wrong, a lot of times these women don't help, right? A lot of times they will make you spend the money. A woman can say, "Hey, you want 50-50? I think you're a good dad. Let's do 50-50. And the judge won't bat an eye. It's not like like a woman's going to go in there and offer 50-50 and the judge is going to say no. That almost never happens. It's the fact that these women oppose it. These women know that they have the power to fight men on this custody, and they do it. And they do it, number one, most of the times it's either to hurt the men emotionally because maybe those men have hurt them, or it's because of the economic incentive that child support provides.
And what are you again?
I am a 20-year family law attorney.
Okay. Now, I've been saying this left and right, showing proof, showing statistics, but yet they try to say that I just don't want to be a father and deadbeat and low life and stuff like that. Now, y'all hearing it from an attorney who does family law and has been doing it for 20 years and he's still doing it. Now, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. But y'all, I guarantee you, one of these simple forces or these baby mama Ted's gonna say he don't know what he's talking about. I guarantee it. That's just how the majority of society is. They would never go against the code. I'm gonna do the shout out for the cash. For the super chat, and I'm gonna ask you a question. Shout out to Angry Bus Drive for the $10 donation. He said shout out to the jury. Facts. Also want to give a shout out to Sergeant Tyson for the $5 donation. Child support suspended my license 3 times, took my passport and car and my military paychecks back in 2010 and current. Double dipping, claim my old errors. Man, sorry to hear that. Prayers to you, my boy from the East Coast of New York City. Now, I want to go back to what you said about the 50-50. Like you say, the judge is not going to come out and say, yeah, I'm going to let y'all know that it's 50-50. But you're going to have to prove your case on why he or she shouldn't get it, right? Exactly. Let me ask you your point of view. What's the reason why you think these judges are not coming out the woodwork saying, we're going to do 50-50 unless you prove me wrong?
That's such a great question. I'll be honest with you. I think there are a lot of reasons. Number one, it's because judges, both men and women, judges are just people, all right? And you don't see any 24-year-old, 25-year-old judges. You see judges that have been on the bench for 24 years, 25 years. These judges have been on the bench for so long. And number one, because they've been on the bench for so long, A lot of them are they're old and they're more conservative, right? And a lot of them truly feel that mothers are better when it comes to children. That's how they felt in the 90s. That's how they felt in the 2000s, 2010, 2021. That's how they're going to feel. And you can't convince them otherwise. So a lot of them really, they don't see anything wrong with it. Now, some of them recognize their past prejudices, but they don't want to clear them up now, because times have changed. And if I'm a judge and I have been giving mothers automatic custody for these past 20 years, and now I'm starting to realize, oh my goodness, I've screwed people over. I could change and start giving the men 50-50 custody, but that means that I have to recognize that I screwed all of these past men, all of these men for 20 years. And a lot of them, so that they won't have to clear that up within their own conscience, they'll just keep doing it. Right? I haven't done anything wrong.
It's like a baby mama terrorist. They keep doing what they do, and they know they doing wrong, but they can't stop. That's just what they do.
That's exactly right. In some states, there is a financial incentive, a financial component to child support. Yes,
that's what I want to hear. Okay.
Absolutely. In some states, especially when the child support goes directly to the state to pay back the state for any government benefits that the mother is receiving.
Right.
Judges will absolutely rubber stamp that. And we have to remember that judges are, in most cases, elected officials, right? So they want to appear that they're progressive. Some of them, that they treat women well because women vote, right?
Right.
That's exactly right. So they want to show women that they're on women's sides, and they want to show that they protect children. No one cares if a man gets screwed over, right? But no one wants the women to get screwed over. No one wants the children to get screwed over. So it's very, very low risk. It's almost no risk for a judge to give custody to a mother. Let me tell you something about judges that you guys mostly you probably don't know if you haven't been in front of a lot of them. Judges, there's one thing that really judges want, and it's not fairness. That's not what guides judges. Judges want low risk. They want the status quo. Most judges, not all judges, there are some great judges, but most judges want the status quo. Because they're elected officials and they know they have people watching, they want to take the safe route. Because judges are just like everybody else. They got mortgages, okay? It's not like a judge wants to get elected to serve like a 4-year term and then get fired because the judge is going out on a limb for people. If you put yourself in a position where a judge has to go out on a limb for you, you're in trouble. And a lot of times that can just be being a man, right? Being a man and the judge wants to go out on a limb. If you're asking the judge to go out on a limb for you to give you 50-50 custody, for you to win 50-50 custody, that judge has to almost know that he's not going out on a limb for you. Like it's actually in the best interest of the kids. But reversing that, you can have a mom who's kind of sketchy, and technically it would be going out on a limb to give that mom custody because you don't really know how the mom is going to do with the kid. But giving a mom custody is always the safe play in our society. And so you have a lot of judges who will just say, I can make a hard decision and I can spend time and order guardian ad litem and review the reports. And I can really spend a lot of hours to try to decide whether or not this kid should go to the mom or it should be 50-50 custody. But, I have 700 cases on my docket and I don't want to spend all these hours on this particular case. The safe play is for me to give the mom to the kid. And that's what I'm going to do. And let's get to the next case. Yeah. And so there are a lot of reasons why the judges rule the way that they do. There are a lot of reasons why the judges are hesitant to give fathers 50-50. But there is definitely a financial component. But there's also a component of just playing it safe. I'll never forget. I went to a family law retreat. Attorneys, we have to get a certain amount of education credits every year. And there were judges and attorneys there. And this old judge, he had been on the bench about 30 years. It was in a presentation of maybe about 200 people. And this judge stood up and took the microphone, and he says that he doesn't even give fathers visitation until a child turns 2, because he felt like before the child was 2 years old, the child was too tender. And so he did not order visitation until the child turned 2 years old. And we're in Georgia, right? But everybody was like, come on. Like, I mean, that can't be right. But this goes to show you how these older judges, especially these older male conservative judges, can rule. That's why we need the new blood in. That's why we need Judge Vonda in. We need modern people on these benches.
And them judges right there are the head lead sympathy forces.
Yes.
That I'm talking about. They are, because they come to these baby mama terrors defense, and some of them know that these baby mama terrors got issues. They not beating the kids, or they not physically beating them, but when it comes to verbal, they let that slide.
Yes.
They only count that when a grown man do it to a grown woman. Then verbal, you go to jail for verbal for domestic violence, even though it's verbal. But when it comes to a kid getting verbally abused, is a different factor. It's totally different.
Absolutely.
I've seen plenty of time. I want to give a shout out to Lorenzo Davis for the $5 donation. He said, question to lead attorney: how should you dress when going to family court? And I want to say thanks to both of you, I guess both of y'all, for helping out men. Appreciate you, my brother. Let me do this last one, then I'll let you answer that question. Shout out to Face Facts for the $4.99 donation. What about judges and gal with unjustified biases against dads, even when the evidence says otherwise? Oh, it's 2 questions. All right, we'll go back to the first one, lead attorney. I'll put it back up.
Yes, this is such a great question. Shout out to Lorenzo. This is so great. You know, a random answer would be, just wear a suit. But that doesn't take into account that a lot of people don't have suits. A lot of men don't have suits. You know, a lot of men didn't grow up with fathers in the home. You know, I didn't. My father wasn't in the home. I had a stepfather who was good, but he wasn't there the whole time, maybe about 5 or 6 years. But I'll be honest with you, I learned how to tie ties off of YouTube, right? And that's because I didn't have a father in the home. And so a lot of times as men, we're just kind of, even things that should be basic, we don't know them. And so this is a fantastic question. What you should not do, and what I see men doing all the time, is wearing, these are men who don't have attorneys, by the way. Men show up to court with these graphic tees that have like words on them, and some of them will be sexual, like not respecting the fact that it is a courtroom. So if you can go to court in a pair of like a polo, like a collared shirt, and let's say some khakis or something like that, that would be great. That really would be like the floor for me, like the baseline. If you could get a button-down shirt with some sleeves and some dress pants and a tie, that's perfect. And just some regular $50 black shoes. Try not to go in sneakers, but any type of $50 church shoes that you can get, something just that are black with some shine on them. That's fantastic. And tuck your shirt in. Yes. And if you can just get like a sports coat or something like that to go over your button-down shirt and your tie, you're all set. And that's a great question. And it doesn't take a lot. Usually, I know we got a lot of progressive churches, and it's kind of a come as you are type of thing, which I think is fantastic. But if you think maybe, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, how you would dress going to church, even if you don't have a jacket, just a tie and a button-down shirt and some slacks or some chinos or some, dark pants. Try to avoid jeans if you can, but just dark pants and some shiny black shoes, $50 black shoes, you're good to go. So that's a great question.
Okay, got Face Facts. He said, what about the judges and gal with unjustified biases against dads, even when the evidence says otherwise? I've been through that.
I mean, this is a great question, but it's kind of the opposite of the other question, because the other question, I can give you a lot of options. I can give you a lot of solutions, a lot of answers. This question is, Ron, I can't give you anything. I mean, it's true. These judges are biased. These guardian ad litem are particularly biased, and you can't really do anything with either one. the way that the law is written, it really gives judges a lot of latitude. You know, it leaves the decisions basically in the discretion of the judge. And so it's so hard to appeal. If 100% of the evidence is against the judge, then you can appeal and you can win. But if only 99% of the evidence is against the judge, you know, your appeal is probably going to lose. I mean, you have to, for appeals to work, they have to be so strong because the judges have so much power. And judges are smart, not necessarily guarding ad litem, but certainly judges are smart, and they know how to couch their decisions in ways that make it seem like it's not biased when it really is, right? And so that's a huge issue. So face facts, you're exactly right. These judges are biased. These guardian ad litem are biased. But there's very, I mean, let's just be honest. In any given particular case, there's very little that you can do besides trying to appeal.
I want y'all to take heed to this, because this is stuff that I was telling y'all when I say keep y'all veins cold. It's gonna come to a point where you may have to wash your hands and move on. And this man is telling you as a lead attorney. You can't make this up, man. I've been there, done it. You cannot make this up. Want to give a shout out to Sergeant Tyson up in here. Once again, $5 donation. My son's grandma, baby mama Tez, won't end the guardianship of my son, using him for rent money of $800 a month while pockets the money and won't give her daughter. I told you he got a story. I mean, he's in the tricks. He's been to war and everything. He was at the Capitol Hill, helping protecting the politicians and everything. But his real fight is with family court, the baby mama Tez, for the same system that he fight for. That you can't make this up, bro.
Absolutely. And this kind of shows too, you know, so many people, you know, just commonplace, we tend to think that child support is when a man pays the mother. But this is kind of a glimpse to show you that child support really is so multifaceted. I've been involved in cases where, you know, the man is paying child support to the mom, where the mom is paying child support to the man, where the man is paying child support to the grandma, where the mother is paying child support to her own mother. Where the mother and the father are paying child support to the state for foster or paying child support or temporary child support to the Department of Family and Children's Services. Child support is a lot of facets to it, and it can be super complicated, especially, let's say, if the custodial mother moves and now you've got child support orders coming at you from different states and they're overlapping, and it can be a mess. It can absolutely be a mess. And so, yeah, he's exactly right. A lot of times you can pay child support to the mothers or to the grandmothers, and the grandmothers, they really would watch the kid for free anyway. And to say $800 a month, that you know, just be outrageous. And it could absolutely be rent money. It could absolutely be rent money. He's absolutely right.
Hey, y'all hurt my feelings, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. You got 101 people in here and only 23 likes. You know, we don't do that. I usually at least have 80%. We gotta get them likes up, man. You know, I ain't been saying nothing because we got, you know, the lead attorney here, but you know, y'all gotta get them likes up, man. You know, the likes is free. I wanna put definitely this topic into the algorithm, put it out there, because a lot of these baby mama Tez, these simple forces make excuses saying this don't exist. I'm mad, bitter, and angry. But I want y'all to hear from an actual attorney who's in the system, who's seeing it from head on, tell you the same thing that I've been telling you. So please, let's get them likes up. Let's get them likes up. Come on now, you know how I get down. You know, hey, order the court. Let's get them likes up. Want to give a shout out to Reginald for the $9.99 super chat. When I got divorced in Savannah, Georgia, judge only allowed me one phone call every 2 weeks. Never laid a hand on my kids or ex-wife. She played the crazy army guy card on me. I was blindsided by it all. Y'all get it the worst. Y'all want the people to get it the worst, man. Shout out to you, my brother. That.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was saying about, you know, I don't know what it is in New York. I don't know what it is in Texas where Judge Vonda is. In Georgia, with these judges we got down here, it is crazy. It is crazy how some of these judges are living in like a 1950s, 1960s mentality where, you know, the mothers are just on this huge pedestal, this damsel in distress type of thing. It's insane, especially, you guys might not know this. There's really two Georgias. All right. There's the Atlanta and there's everywhere else. And Atlanta is super metropolitan. It's a super city. You know, we got the busiest airport in the world. So many black people. Black people run Atlanta, Georgia, if you guys didn't know. Step outside of Atlanta, anywhere else outside of Atlanta, it's a totally different, that's the real Georgia. That's the real, you know, down home type of Georgia that you guys might have the stereotype of. And that's exactly right.
Yeah, I've been all through it.
So you show up as a black man down in Savannah, Georgia, you might get cooked up. That's exactly right. A phone call to your own children. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Man, it don't make no sense at all.
While you fight for your country, right? But let's not even get into that. I mean, it's like, oh, whoa.
You might go this page because you talking like how I talk, just in a rated PG manner. But everything I be saying. Shout out to the bailiff, Game of Lives Matter, for the $2 donation. Check your Cash App, Judge P. Let the less Cash App today. And I'm looking right now. We got my boy Choo up in here with the $10 donation for Bunny Hunter Fund, applying for bailiff on channel. Appreciate you, my brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And let me ask you this. Have you ever, and I know you had 20 years, you had to, represented a mother that you knew was a baby mama terrorist, but of course she paying you to do your job. I want to know what ended up happening with the father, and also how did you feel about doing that?
Absolutely. I'll never, and this is a little bit different, right? But you know, if you want to use the word terrorist, this would really be fitting. This lady came into my office. She was dressed really nice, and she said, "My child's father owes me child support." And I say, "Okay, well, how much does he owe?" And she says he owes $99,000. And you know, in Georgia, especially back in the day, this was years ago. You know, anything over $5,000, the judge is going to find you in contempt of court and is going to put you in jail, right? And so $99,000, I was like, oh, this guy's going under the jail. And so I started. She hires me, and I start getting into the case, and I see that this woman has filed numerous cases against this man for years, because you just don't owe $99,000 overnight, right? He had been paying for a long time, and he had been owing for years, and she had been dogging him for years. And so he would move to, let's say, another county or another part of the state, and she would track him down and file a case against him and get him put in jail. And he never had the money to hire an attorney. He never had the money to get out. So usually the judge would end up letting him out. You know, somebody be like, "Hey, judge, we got this guy down here he's been here for 3 months. Do you want to do something about him?" And the judge would let him out. And when the mother would find out that the judge let him out, she would go back and file another case. Now, this lady had gotten remarried.
Lady?
Yeah.
I got it. I'm just saying.
I'm on that Uncle D.
You have to say it. I'm just saying, baby mama terrorist. You don't have to say it.
Okay. Plus, she was my client, so give me a little leeway.
I got you.
Give me a little leeway. Okay. This nice lady, as Uncle D would call her, she had remarried. And how it usually works is if, let's say, you owe $10,000 in child support. If I represent the mom and I file a case against you, and let's say I charge $4,000 for the case, the judge is going to order that you pay my attorney's fees. So if you owe $10,000, the judge is going to say, okay, you owe $10,000 in child support, but now you owe $14,000 because you owe these extra attorney's fees. You owe the lead attorney's fees, because if you didn't owe the $10,000, then the mother would have had to pay the lead attorney the $4,000. So it's not fair for her. So now you owe $4,000. But if you have a man who owes $99,000, you know that he's never going to pay those fees.
Exactly.
He's never going to pay him. So in my head, I'm like, why is this lady following this man around knowing that he's never going to be able to pay the fees? Turns out that this woman had gotten remarried and had married a man who was worth a few $1 million. And so number one, she didn't need the money because her new husband, earned a few million. And she lived in a super nice house, dressed really well, super sophisticated, but she hated this guy because the guy had cheated on her, 12 years ago. And she would not let him die. And so her whole thing, because of course she wasn't working either, because she didn't need the money, the kids didn't need the money. Her job, or what her hobby, was putting this man in jail. And I didn't know this at the time that I had gotten hired, but now that I started getting into the case and looking at all of the other prior cases, it was clear to me what was going on. So we show up for trial. And the father shows up, and he's old. I mean, he just looks really beaten down, and he's old and he's skinny, older. Let's say he's in his early 50s. And I've got him on the stand. And there's really nothing to talk about, right? It's not like this whole big courtroom show, because if you owe $99,000, either you owe it or you don't. There's really nothing going on. And so I make my case and I sit down, and he shows up without an attorney. And so the judge looks at him, and the judge is like, well, $99,000 is a lot of money. Why haven't you been paying? And the guy's like, well, I can't pay. And the judge says, well, why can't you pay? And he reaches up with his hand. He puts his hand in his mouth and pulls out like his whole jaw and just kind of sets it on the ledge of the witness stand. Everybody in the courtroom was like, what the? A man pulled out his bones out of his own mouth.
Yeah, jaw surgery.
Yeah, he had been in a train accident. And where a train had hit him years ago. And so he was on disability, couldn't work or anything. So this man, he just didn't have any money. And when he pulled out his jaw, everybody was, and I looked over to my client and I said, I was like, did you know he could do that?
Of course she did.
She looked at me, she's like, he does that all the time. So you have this woman whose only job in life is putting this man in jail. She has her kids, she has her life. She's married to a multimillionaire, but that's what she does, And listen, the guy owed the money, right? So I guess legally she's in her right. But this is what it shows, that the law can be weaponized against you. The judge did not end up putting him in jail. Ordered him to pay my attorney's fees, of course, which he never did, right? But she paid him, so I don't care. She just continues to lose money. She's paying, $4,000 to put this man in jail.
And hell, to put him through hell. And this is why I call these types baby mama terrors. And I tell y'all, the worst baby mama terrors, what? The ones that got money, the one that got degrees, the ones that make experience, the one that got license, all that, because they got a shield to hide behind, for one, and for two, they will spend their money and go dirt broke to make you suffer. It's not always about getting your check. It's about control, because of something that you quote unquote did back in the day. Now she married to a multi-millionaire, and I guess either he too stupid not to notice, or he do know. He just a simple force and he don't care what she do. But
I don't care.
Right. So, but people tend to tell me that it's not like that. No. He had to do something. He must didn't want to be a father, and he just piece of shit. So that's why she keep doing it now. And that's why I tell women who do have a deadbeat runner, I say, you sit back worried about trying to get this man on child support to get $100 in blunt amount. Why don't you focus on yourself, get yourself in order, because whatever you got against him, you're gonna take out on your kid. One way or another, you're gonna take out on your kid, because you're gonna see that kid and think of him. You need to get yourself in order, do what you gotta do as a mother, and quit worrying about that $100 that you're not gonna get. But unfortunately, they be so much tired emotionally reacting to this dude that went on about his business, living his life to the fullest, and they setting themselves and their kids up for failure. That's why you got a lot of these kids out here that's don't have a father, and also going to jail at a young age, dropping out of school, suicide, because project of single motherism from baby mama terrorists. But when I talk about this, I don't know what I'm talking about. Want to give a shout out to Dr. Thunder. I hope you got my message. Yes, my brother. I emailed you back, brother. Send me your number. $5 donation. He said 2 brothers sticking their necks out to help Black men. Thanks so much. Paying my respects. Appreciate you, my brother. Want to give a shout out to Simply a Diva. $15 super chat. We received custody in Georgia. Now in court again. Gal ruled in our favor. Now in court in Texas. Mom fight for custody. Hadn't paid child support since we got the child. $70,000 in legal fees is bullshit. Wow. Shout out to you, my sister, and congratulations. You got to come on the show also to talk about a stepmother dealing with a baby mama terrorist, because they go through the trenches too, just as much as the father, because they support that man. And shout out to y'all. I definitely support y'all. y'all are strong, because you don't have to. You're not obligated. So shout out to you, sister.
Absolutely.
You cannot make this up, man. Okay, he did that one. Want to give a shout out to Sir Tice for the $4.99 donation. Salute to 2 great bros, and welcome addition to the Manosphere. What a collab! Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, shout out to Sir Tice. He supports me too. He's over there on my channel. So shout out to Sir Tice. Yeah, it's great dude.
Yeah, another Gail, huh? Yeah. that's my district attorney on here, boy.
Gail keeps it in order. Absolutely.
She definitely keep it in order. She definitely support the team. So let me ask you this now, because let me go back to you saying you don't know about the other state, the other laws. Most of the laws are similar. Most of them go by both incomes now. Not all, but most of them go by both incomes. A lot of Black men come to me and say that the judge did it. I'm gonna ask you this.
Yeah.
A lot of Black men who deal with white women, and I tell y'all, a Karen baby mama Tess is the worst of the worst. They tell me that once they break up, have issues, they go to family court. It's like she used the race card of being white and use her white privilege against the Black man, and the judge fall for it. Have you been involved in a case like that where interracial relationship gone bad and child support, and the brother was basically looked at as an evildoer for being Black?
I'll tell you this, again, being from the South, interracial relationships stand out a little bit more in the South, and they are less frequent. Okay. They are less frequent. Having said that, there are some interracial relationships between Blacks and whites, and you'll see it from time to time.
Right.
But honestly, I don't see a difference. I don't think it matters what color the mother is. Right? The way the laws are.
Man, that's all they care about.
Exactly. That's how I feel about it. And I'm telling you this from one of the most racist states in the country, that white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, mom is gonna get that check.
Yeah, and government daddy gonna get it cut too.
That's exactly right.
Okay,
that's exactly right. So that's how I feel about that, to be honest.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Alienation. When fathers go to court, so many guys who fought showing proof that the baby mama Tay is not following court order. She's alienating me from seeing my child, and I'm doing my part. I'm reaching out. I'm going over there, and she don't open the door, stuff like that. Have you as an attorney been through where the father was fighting to put her in contempt, and the judge see what's going on, but yet he turned around and basically make excuses and give a continuance and all that stuff? Did you have seen that or been through it?
All the time. All the time. Here's the thing. Judges take very little seriously, very little, because they got a lot of cases and they see a lot of BS. They really do. And so what do they take seriously? They take children being physically harmed seriously, and they take child support very seriously. We all know they take child support seriously.
Yeah, Right, exactly.
If you are a man and you're not, you know, she didn't show up, she showed up 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes late for your visitation, the judge doesn't care about that. You know, if every once in a while she says, no, you know, Johnny's sick or Michael's sick, you can't see him.
COVID.
Oh man, that was a huge one.
Yeah,
That was a huge
I
one.
heard a lot of COVID going on.
The judges really don't care if you're not getting your visitation. And if you file some type of petition for contempt or some type of petition for enforcement or a complaint for contempt, a judge will, especially if it's the first time, if it has anything to do other than physical violence or child support, what the mom will get is basically a slap on the wrist. You know, she'll get a warning. And the issue is that if you talk to an attorney, most attorneys are going to tell you to hire an attorney for your case. Oh, cool. But the problem is, if you spend $4,000 to hire an attorney to complain that you are not getting your visitation, the judge gives her a slap on the wrist and says, "Ma'am, make sure you give him the visitation." And she says, "Okay, judge," and she walks out. What happened to your $4,000?
It went to
right. It's exactly right. It just disappeared. So if you are not getting your visitation, if there's non-compliance with your child custody case, if it doesn't have anything to do with child support or harming the child, you yourself have to build that case up. What do I mean by that? Let's say that you're not getting visitation. What you need to do, at least this works in my state, and this is what I tell my clients to do, and it's a little aggressive, but you have to be aggressive, because if not, no one's going to take your rights seriously. If you're supposed to meet at the parking lot Walmart to get your kids and your kids aren't there, you need to call the police and have the police come out and make a report. And that's going to be super inconvenient. Number one, because let's say that it's 6 o'clock and your child's mother isn't there. So you can't just call the police at 6:01, right? You got to give her a little time. So let's say you wait 15 minutes. Now it's 6:15, 6:20. Then you call the police and they send somebody out there, but they know it's not an emergency. So maybe they send somebody out there, but it takes them 20 minutes to get there. Now it's 6:40. And now you're telling the cop what he is, and the cop's like, this is a civil matter, and doesn't even really want to write the report. So you got to be respectful, but you also have to be firm. You say, listen, and you need to show up with a certified copy of your parenting time, right? Of the court order saying it's 6 o'clock on Friday and I'm supposed to get the kids and my kids aren't here. And this is a crime. This is interference with custody. Right. You have to try to make it so it kind of seems like it's criminal, because the cop is going to do everything to say, hey, this is a civil matter, and just take it up with the judge. And you need to let the cop know, the police officer know, that this can be considered criminal because I'm supposed to have custody of my child right now and I don't. And somebody's withholding custody from me. So you at least, I'm not telling you to go arrest anybody, but at least make a police report. Right. And maybe they'll go back to the station and make the police report, and you have to go pick it up in 3 days. So you see all of the legwork that you have to do. And it's not, and if you go in there just one time with that one police report, the judge isn't going to do anything. So you might need 3 police reports, right? You need to show that it's not like the mom just forgot one time, because if it's a one-time thing, you're going to get nothing. What you need to show that this is a pattern, like that the mother is intentionally withholding your child from you, which harms the child. Everybody thinks, oh, if you're not paying child support, that harms the child. But if your child can't see you, that doesn't harm the child. And that's false.
That's the shame talk.
That's exactly right. If the mother does not allow you to be in that child's life, she is harming the child. But because you're a man, you need to jump through all these hoops and take all these extra steps to prove what's going on, so that the judge does more than give her a slap on the wrist. Now, the judge is never going to order her to go to jail for this, right? Unless she does it like 20 times. But at least if you can prove up your case, the judge will award you some attorney's fees, right? So you're not having to do this. But and this is such a great question, though, Mr. Palmer. I'm glad you asked it, because a lot of guys, a lot of men will see all the hurdles, all the hoops that they have to jump through, and they won't do it. They won't do it. And so what they'll do is, you know, the mother will be withholding visitation, and this will go on for 6 months. This will go on for 2 years. This will go on for 4 years. And so then, because the visitation is being withheld for so long and the visitation is so sporadic, now there's no bond now between the father and the child. The child knows who the father is, and the father knows, okay, this is my son biologically, but there's not that father-son or that father-daughter bond, because there haven't been these frequent and regular visitations because of the mom. But let's be honest, the dad didn't jump through the hoops that he needed to enforce his visitation. Now, it's unfair that he had to jump through all these hoops, right? But he didn't. And the fact that he didn't has really harmed their relationship. So now that the relationship is harmed, it can never really be that he can fight for 50-50 custody later on, because he's not that close to his children anymore. So this can set him up for failure. The fact that judges do not enforce these agreements equally can really set a man up for failure in parenting in the long run. And sometimes it's hard to see, but I see it all the time. I'll give you an example. I do these consultations with my subscribers, right, where they can call me up and I'll consult with them.
I saw that.
And I had a gentleman who a good father, but he didn't want any drama with the mom because the mom was a little, and he had a couple of kids with the mom, and the mom was like, listen, you can see these are twins. You can see your twins, but you can only see them in the living room of my house.
Right. Control.
And especially mothers do this all the time, especially if it's the first child and especially if it's an infant. They will want supervised visitation. They do not trust a lot of these fathers.
But she trusts them enough to have sex and get pregnant and have a baby with them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And she really trusts the money that come out of his account for the child support. Right. That's she really got trust in that. And so what this gentleman was doing, he was going to see his twins in the living room. And the mother was there like this. And the sister was there like this, sitting on the couch, and everybody's watching them, but he didn't want any smoke. And so he didn't do anything about it. And he let this go on for 2 years. Now it's looking like, he wants to fight for custody, but he's never even had an opportunity. He can't show the judge, I should get 50-50 custody, because he hasn't seen the kids unsupervised. He's more in supervised visitation land than in 50-50 land. Whereas if he would have insisted, hey, I have the right to see my twins outside of your supervision, and I'm going to go to court to enforce it, then maybe he would have a better chance. Now that some things have gone on, he would have a better chance in fighting for 50-50 custody. But he hasn't even seen these kids outside of the home. And so that's on him. And that happens a lot to men. Men, a lot of times, we don't want to smoke with women. Right. And for a lot of, for good reason, a woman will call up the police, say he hit me, and you'll go to jail. Right. Just like that. Right. And so, and also to get to really do what you want to do to enforce your rights, you're looking at court fees, you're looking at court costs, so you're looking at the service of your complaint, you're looking at the fee for an attorney. It costs money. So a lot of times guys will just go along to get along, but you get punished for that.
No, you didn't say go along to get along. Ain't that what I've been telling y'all in here? That a lot of y'all or a lot of men tend to do the go along, get along train. And you have to keep your veins cold, and you have to stop making excuses talking about I don't want to make it worse than it has to be. And that's why I tell y'all we have to speak up and tell our story, because a lot of people say this stuff don't exist, but it does, and they know it. But by you not saying nothing and putting it out there, telling your stories or giving it to me and I'll tell it, you basically saying, it is what it is. I don't want to make it worse than it had to be. And like I said, you can't be no worse being alienated than being called a deadbeat, being shamed and lied on, But back to what you were saying, when you were saying that, like you said, he's sitting there, he don't want to make it worse than it have to be. But at the same time, that judge shouldn't agree to give him visitation in the first place with no legit reason. But they do it anyway to tickle her chin or whatever. And that it goes back to that judge, that system that is so gender biased, and they know this woman's doing it out of spite, but
Absolutely. And
What it is.
that phrase about keeping your veins cold is so, I mean, it's so on point. It's so on point. But and listen though, because you know, we shoot at these women, but I see so many men make mistakes. And I'll flip it around and I'll flip it around. And what I said to this gentleman was, let's reverse it. Let's reverse it. Let's assume that you had your two girls, your two twins in your living room, and you tried to have the mom just go over there and show up and supervise her visitation. Do you think she would stand for that for 1 second?
Nope.
She not for 1 second would she stand for that.
She's gonna go all, even if she gotta lie, she's gonna set you up. That's what they do.
Her veins are gonna be cold. This guy, he wrote me, and I've been meaning to make a video about this, but I'm just now thinking about it now that we're talking about this. And I don't want to give the details. Basically,
I understand.
He was ordered to pay child support, and he's been paying child support. And I'll just make the facts really easy. Let's assume it's one child. The child is 24 years old, and he should have stopped paying when the child was 18. But he didn't.
No.
And what he contacted me for is like, hey, do I need to do something, or when do I need to stop paying the child support? Hey. And I looked it up, and it was 6 years ago. 6 years ago, he needed to stop, but he's been paying every month that $800. All right, but why? Because he hasn't taken the effort to talk to an attorney and say, hey, what do I need to do? Do I need to file something? Now let's reverse it. How many baby mamas do you know that are going to let $800 a month come out of their checking account needlessly for 6 years?
Right. No.
Zero. Any for anything, not even a baby mama, what woman do you know that is going to allow $800 to randomly go out of her account without knowing when the stop date is?
That's his job. That's his job. I can tell you that. That's his job to look it up and see when to stop. She's not going up there for you and say, oh, he's still paying the child support. I better let him know. No, she's going to say, this dumbass I'm going to keep doing it till that's on him.
Exactly. And when he files the motion to stop it, the judge is going to stop it, and he is not going to get 1 cent of those 6 years that he overpaid back. Not 1 cent.
And why is that? I just want you to answer that. Why is that?
Because like you said, it's his fault. The judge is going to say, listen, guy, I'm here today, but let me tell you something. I was here 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I was waiting on you. You decided not to come to me. You decided to wait 6 years. All you had to do was come to me. So for all these 6 years that you decided every single day, you decided not to come to me, you're going to have to live with that decision. Now that you've come to me, I'm going to stop it, and that's it. But you're not going to get any of that money back.
And they're not going to give you back. They cut. You got to remember, they get a cut. They're not going to look out for you. They're not going to look out for the mother.
That's exactly right.
They managers. Remember what we were talking about before? Managers. I want to give a shout out to everybody up in the courtroom. We got 137 watching, 120 likes. I appreciate that. That's what I'm used to saying. We even got a 1 dislike. So it's either a baby mama terrorist or a sympathy forces. And you know what I say about that, y'all.
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Not at all. So shout out to you for the thumbs down, because I'd rather have to get a thumb down than nothing at all. Want to give a shout out to Sister George for the $20 donation. Appreciate you, my sister. And that's the funny part, brother. Now, I got more women coming on this platform that support it. They understand what I'm talking about. They're not just going against the code. They actually call this stuff out. But yet, they be looked at as pick-me's and, oh, you just trying to get you a dude and all that jive, when they actually just speaking the truth. And that's what we trying to do. And that is unfortunate that there's not enough women who know it's not right, but they don't want to break that cycle because that could be their benefit in the future. Child support system.
Right. But let me say this too. I mean, you're exactly right. And I see this a lot. I see this a lot where a man will come into my office, but he didn't come in voluntarily. He came in because his girlfriend or his fiance or his wife grabbed him by the collar and like, no, you coming in. Because if you don't pay this child support, guess who's going to end up paying it? Me.
Right.
And I'm not paying it. So a
Right.
lot of times girlfriends, fiancés, wives, they have a vested interest in the man doing what he's supposed to do. And they don't, because women don't play, right? They are not playing around, because like you said, their veins are cold too. So if a guy is like being all relaxed and lackadaisical and he's being soft, a lot of times the women will be like, no, we're going to this attorney's office. We're going to file a modification. A lot of times they'll be the ones who will come in and drag the boyfriends in with them. I see it all the time. Women come to my office. Yes, they'll be sitting there talking to me, and I'll be asking questions, and the woman will say everything, and the guy will just sit there like that, even though he's the one that's paying every month. Right. The women will take charge a lot of the time.
And that's not the role. He's supposed to take charge. I'm serious. That's how them guys for a week. And the reason why I noticed is because I talked to quite a few stepmoms and significant others who telling me their story. I said, why the father ain't around? Well, I'm making him do it because he this. I'm like, what? I said, you doing more fighting than he is? And so you tell the truth. I talked to a lot of women who going through it and in the trenches with him, and they more cold than he is. He don't want to make the person have to be. That's still the kid's mom. And I'm like, keep that shit out of that. No, they are enemy because they say you are for failure. You can't think like that. You know, you telling the truth on that. I ain't never talk. That's why I want a couple of stepmoms to inbox me so we can talk about them being in the trench, because they get it just as worse, if not worse. They lose their whole checking account because they got his name on it, and they fight the whole thing. The stimulus,
exactly,
stimulus and stuff, because they joint doing tax together. That's why you married. I say don't do no joint taxes, because y'all both lose their money. You know,
absolutely right. Your whole bank account will get frozen. Or, you know, let's say you're pregnant, right, by this new guy, and the new guy has child support issues and he doesn't know what's going on, so not taking it seriously. And now he's in jail, and now he loses his job and you're pregnant. Right. So a lot of times women have a real interest in making sure that there's fairness in the system, because these men, it's not like a man gets caught up in these child support unfair situations and then they just disappear into the system. No, they're back in society dating other women, right? You women really, I know some of you women receive child support, but some of you women date men who are on child support. And so you women have an interest in standing up too and saying, hey, the system is not fair, because you're going to be dealing with men who are on child support.
Facts. Man, want to give a shout out to the RP Awakening Mindset $5 donation. That story LA backs up. The saying, hell has no fury like a woman scorned. These baby mama tales are worse than the spawns of hell. So much for I'm not like that. You can't make this shit up, brother. Want to give a shout out to the bailiff once again for the $5 donation. Don't interrupt the show. What you missed, 2 of my super chats. LOL. Appreciate the guests that are on the show and the YouTubers and the chat and the jury. My bad, bro. I'm sorry. I'm so into this dialogue, man. I appreciate you though. Shout out to Julius Mays, $10 donation. Evening, gentlemen. My question is, how come they don't hold the same standard to women? For example, she needs this extra money. Why aren't they pushed to get a better job or another job? Yeah, because I always tell a baby mama terrorist, Walmart is always hiring. This is a question for you, brother.
Yeah, this is interesting. And really, I mean, we could go in. Let me talk to you guys really quickly about why aren't they pushed to get a second job, but men are. Here's the problem with a lot of men. A lot of men will do work where they are. Let me back up. So you have a husband and you have a man and a woman, a boyfriend and girlfriend, let's say, and they're not married, but you know they've been dating for 3 years and now they got a kid, right? They got a 1-year-old, and the boyfriend is hustling, right? And so you know he's got a regular job, but then he'll work overtime at that regular job. And let's say he's making 50,000, but he's working overtime. So let's say now it's 60. 65, and he's got a second job too. He's hustling, right? So let's say that he's got a second job and he works overtime. Let's say he's making 85 grand.
Damn.
then the woman goes and puts him on child support. But he's only really making 50 grand from his job, right? He having to work overtime in the second job. So he'll say, you know, Judge, I'm really only making this 50 grand. I was working the second job temporarily because I'm trying to get a house for everybody. And that's the same reason I was working the overtime. But now that we've broken up, now just put me on child support. I don't need a house, and I need to do this apartment. So just set my child support at the 50 grand. The judge is going to say, hell no.
Right.
The judge is going to say, you have the capacity to earn 80 grand. You've shown it. You're a hard worker. So you are going to earn that 80 grand. So you actually are going to be punished as a man for working harder. And so now you have actually become a slave.
And that's what you are, a slave.
You have become a slave to the woman and to the state, right? Where you could have just worked your 40 hours a week like everybody else and earned your 50 grand. Now you have to work a second job and the overtime to get 80. And if you lose that second job, or if your first job says, hey, there's no more overtime, that's your problem. Now you better find you better find another job. You better find some way to earn this 80 grand every year for the next 15 years, 16 years. You have absolutely become a slave. Now you say, well, why doesn't the mom have to get a second job? Here's why: because the mom didn't work the second job. The mom only worked one job. If you had only worked one job, your child support would be at the 50 grand. But because you've shown that you are industrious, because you've shown that you're a hard worker, because you've shown that you have the capacity to make 80 grand, that's what your child support is pegged at. A lot of men allow their women to be lazy. A lot of women, and that your allowance of that, because you're being nice, it will come back to punish you. It will come back to make you a slave. A lot of men, it's not even laziness. A lot of men will say, I want my woman not to work, because I'm a man. Okay.
Okay, man.
And okay.
And the child support.
That's exactly what you want. But here's the thing. You don't want your woman to work, fine. But 4 years later, when she puts you on child support, I don't want to hear anything about, now she needs to get 3 jobs, right? She didn't have 3 jobs when you were with her and you were fine with it. So I have a video, guys, and it's about the one rule that you need to know about family law. There are a lot of things you need to know, but if there's only one, take away this. Take away this. What the judge is going to want to do is continue the status quo. It's continued status quo. The judge is not going to go out on a limb for you. How things have always been is the way that the judge is going to want to have them. If in your relationship she only worked that one job, that's the way the judge is going to want to have it. If you, during your relationship, if you worked overtime, the judge is going to want to keep that overtime going. If you worked a second job, the judge is going to want you to keep working that second job into the future, right? If you decided that you didn't want her to work and now she's been out of the workforce for 5 years, 6 years, and now you're divorced, you might have to pay some alimony. Why? Because she's been out of the workforce for 6 years. That's how you wanted it, so that's how the judge is going to want to keep it to go. Guys, you have to remember this when you're dealing with women. A lot of men say, and it's the truth, right? A lot of men say, we don't care if a woman works. We don't care about her degrees. We're looking at different things. It's true. The legal system will punish you for it. The legal system will punish you for it. The legal system does not line up with your biological desires, right? Your desires are one thing and the legal system is another. So
now go ahead, brother.
No, I'm just saying, you need to, as a man, you need to realize where you're at when you're dealing with women. It's not just the biological needs that you need to consider. It's also the legal structure that's going to underpin your whole relationship when you're talking about marriage. It's going to underpin the whole relationship when you're talking about having children. I get messages from men every day. You would think in the manosphere and the red pill community, if you're on here, you would think that just no man wants to get married now. No man wants to have kids now. It's not true. Men want to get married every day. I get comments every day. Lead attorney, I want to get married. What can I do to protect myself? Lead attorney, I want to have 2 kids. What can I do to protect myself? I don't care what anybody says. I'm convinced that the 80% of men out here are blue pill, right?
And you being nice, because I think it's 90%.
I will go with I was being nice. You're exactly right. I was absolutely being nice.
Yeah.
So you have to understand as a blue pill guy that there's a system out there that you don't know about, but it will come and bite you if you don't understand it. And that's the family law system.
And that's why I'm running this platform the way I'm running, putting it out there, because a lot of these people in the manosphere, they talk one talk, they full of shit. And that's why I say I'm full of a lot of these bitch ass niggas, because I see it. And they say one thing on this YouTube, get they shine and they likes, but behind the scenes is another. And you telling me that a lot of these people that's from the manosphere be reaching out to you. Wow. I'm not even surprised, bro. Want to give a shout out to Fronte for the $5 donation. He got a question. He said, is it true that the reason why the judges take child support so seriously is because they are contracted by the agency, so they have interest in the case? Shout out to you, my brother.
Yeah, and let me talk about this, because this can vary from state to state and from court to court. So I don't want to give like a blanket statement, but in a lot of states, judges are used to collect child support from the states.
Yes.
The only way that the state is going to get your money is through the judges, right? That's the only way they're going to get the child support. And so
your money.
That's exactly right. So judges know not to bite the hand that feeds them. Let me say that. Now, if you're talking about a case where a husband and a wife and they got one kid and then they get divorced, and the husband's just paying the wife, the $800 a month. It's not like the state's getting a huge cut out of that. Where the state comes in is where the mother starts getting government benefits. And that's where you see the sketchiness going on. Now, it could be that, the husband gets divorced and he has to pay his $1,000 a month, but they take the $1,000 a month directly out of his paycheck and they send it through the state agency, which will give the mother the $1,000 on some type of debit card, right? So it could be that, when they take the $1,000, his employer is going to charge him, $4 as a convenience fee. And then the state's going to charge him $7 for the convenience fee a month, right? But, $4, $7 is not a huge amount. But where you do see these large amounts is when the state is using the government or the states are using the judges to collect child support, and the money doesn't go to the mom. The money goes to the state. That's when the states get involved.
Facts. Yeah. Want to give a shout out to Minister Jap up in the building, man, for the $19.99 donation. Please, I know I already know a lot of y'all subscribe to him already. That's how y'all met me. But for those who don't know about Minister Jap, which I doubt it, please subscribe to his channel. He definitely talk about these, baby mama terrorists. And he's from Chicago like me. He's a brother. All right, shout out to you, my brother, once again. Appreciate you. Let me go back up. Gotta give a shout out to. Oh man, we got Dennis Sperling up in this mug.
Look, we got Uncle D.
on in the court. We got up in this building. Uncle D. You know what? What next? You know what? Down the line, I want to do a segment where hopefully you, Dennis Sperling, and Vaughn will be on here at one time.
Oh wow, that'd be fire.
We got to do this. I'm gonna set that up. I don't care how much awesome. We're gonna do it. Uncle D says, keep up the good work. And y'all know who Uncle D is. He's been on my platform and I go on his. He's a brother from Texas. He's a lawyer, not family court lawyer, but he knows what's going on. He knows about it. Out the real. And please subscribe to his channel because he definitely want to uplift black men and people in the manosphere. And he got a long way to go because there's a lot of simple forces up in here. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, my brother. Damn, we got my man, Uncle D. All right. Salute. Want to give a shout out to my brother Jam for the $10 donation. Salute you, my brother. Want to give a shout out to the Bell for the $5 donation. In your 20 years, have you experienced a man taking the law in his own hands after exhausting all his resources trying to fight this losing battle? Shout out to you, my brother. That's a good question.
I don't know what that means. Does that mean like domestic violence, or I don't know what that means?
he talking about taking the law in his own hand. Look like it sound like what's his name? A Ray Caruth.
I have never had any clients. I've had every attorneys have had clients that passed away, but I have never had a client commit suicide. But it does happen. It absolutely does.
20,000 a year.
It absolutely does happen, and child support can just be a huge reason for it because you get caught up in the system where they are locking you up, and then you're losing your license. And because they've locked you up and lose your license, now you've lost your job. Now that you've lost your job, you can't pay the child support. So they put interest on it. So now the back child support is growing. And because it's growing at such a fast rate, I think in California, it's like a 10% interest on it. Yep. Because and you think about it, you say a house, people flip out if the interest on a house is like 4%. Everybody's like, no, I want 3%. I want 2%. The interest that they put on child support is 10%. It can be 13%. It's so high, and it can put you in a hole that you can never get out of. So you're constantly getting arrested. You're constantly getting put in jail. You're constantly having to lose your license. When you lose your license, you have to pay a $250, $300 reinstatement fee, right? You have to pay that. You could have put the $300 on your child support, but that's $300 less that you can put on the child support because you got to put it on your to reinstate your license just so that you have the ability to work. Right. And so you can look up as a man and just like, there's no hope. There's no hope.
Facts. And that's why you got a lot of people who are not getting married. They're not having kids. Because I know 51% of black men, we just about black men on that, are childless and unmarried. 51%. And a lot of people didn't know that because they got the stigma that niggas having kids all over the place and not take care of the kids, and they fall for that crap. But if you look at the statistic, it shows that 51%, which is over half, are not married or having kids.
It's true. The Pookies and the Ray Rays, they're giving us a bad rap. They're giving all because there are a lot of Pookies and Ray Rays. They will have 5, 6 kids, and they won't support none about them. But there are more black people than just Pookies and Ray Rays. That's the problem.
Tell people because we're gonna talk about that once I get all the super chats in. Was when we went on Bernard Riley's show. Shout out to him. And you had a simp enforcer from another country who's a male feminist, and he was saying that men who don't have equal parent time is because they didn't do what they had to do. But we're gonna talk about that once I salute everybody else with the super chat. Shout out to Logic Sphere for being up in the building. I didn't know he was in here. He's saying hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Shout out to my brother Logic Sphere. Please subscribe to him. Ty City. He's one of the brothers that's real in the manosphere who looked out for me, him, Ramil, Bernard Riley, and others. Them the three, my three amigos. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, brother. I want to give a shout out to Irv Gotti for the $15 donation. He said, finally, a channel for us about family court. The laws of Babylon. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you, my brother. Yeah, they hate that. They don't want that out here like that, man. They hate me. They hate me. Want to give a shout out to the Judge Vonda B. Once again for the $5 donation. I really appreciate you, my sister.
Judge, email me, Judge. Email me right now, Judge. Email me.
I got you.
See if Gail, I don't know if Gail can put my email in the chat.
Gail, she gave me your email.
Yeah, my email is simple. It's just theleadattorney@gmail.com. The lead attorney.
Yeah, put it up there. So now I'm letting you know you're gonna get other emails besides Vonda B. So
listen, I had to shut my email down. I was getting questions from all over the nation. Right?
I'm not gonna give it to her afterward, but I'm just letting you know.
No, but it's fine. It's fine. But yes, Judge. Please email me. I definitely want to get. Oh, look who's here! My man is Steel Curtin.
Steel Curtin in the building. $5 donation.
Let me tell you something. I've had a lot of subscribers, and they'll say stuff. Just people. You know a lot of people in your life, and they're very even reasonable people, even your good friends. Sometimes they'll say something, and you're like, man, I don't really agree with that, right? Right. Everything the Steel Curtain says, I have agreed 100%. I don't know if I've ever met anybody like that in my life. I'm telling you, I told him even off YouTube, I was like, man, you got to start a channel because there are people that need your voice. Now he's out here killing it. He's like, man, I can't do YouTube. I'm over here killing it in the real world, right? But shout out to the Steel Curtain. He is on point, super on point all the time.
He says, $5 donation. He said the system has a vested interest in securing a lively donor for an income stream, child support. The notion of fairness never enters the equation. Facts. But when you say something like that, you just don't want to be a father. You're low life. Your mama black and everything else. Can't make this shit up.
Black.
Yeah, they say that too, brother.
It's true.
Shout out to Sergeant Tyson for the $10 donation. In 2002, child support left me $100 a week out of $280, barely surviving. Applying for food stamps and was denied. I had to prove that I am a slave in New York City and hungry. All the women with kids get it faster in a minute. That's facts. Yeah. It's not for you. It's not for you.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Want to give a shout out to Fonzo for the $4.99 donation. He says that education that you gave on Bernard Riley show was straight facts. And that song you and Ramil made is my workout song. Pump it up. Hey, shout out to you, my brother. And also, once they get mixed, it's going to be out on all the platforms. And also, we're going to do a video for it. So don't even worry about it.
That's awesome. And shout out to W. Alfonso, too. He be coming through and supporting your boy. Yes.
Oh, man. This is the Logic Spit channel, y'all. And also, this is the email from the lead attorney. So, Vonda,
yes.
I'm going to text it to your phone anyway, just in case you're not on here. But here's this email if y'all want to do consultation, anything, and get more guys behind the scenes.
Perfect. And thank you, Gamer Lives Matter. He's always
that's the Baylor, man.
Yeah.
Baylor, man. He about that life. Him and Gil Lockett.
Yes.
Yeah. Want to give a shout out to JAB for the $5 donation. He said, great work, my brother. Appreciate it. Let me put the email back up. Let me ask you this question. You was on there. I don't know how long you was on it, but you was on the show, and I didn't see it because I was on a panel stating my case with this male feminist. This dude was a male feminist. He come from South America, but he got his citizenship here in America, and he said that men don't get equal parenting time because they're not putting the work and they're not doing what they're supposed to. And also, what else he say? It's quite a few things he said. When it's all said and done, he was a simp enforcer. And he even though I gave him statistics, I gave him the numbers and everything, he didn't go against me, but he just couldn't break and say, you right. I told a lot of these people would not go against the code. And when it comes to these blue pill and these purple pill betas, these are the ones that's going to always uplift these baby mama terrorists, just like the Umar Johnson that I was talking about yesterday. What's your take on that, bro? Because you even came in and said, I'm a lawyer, but been a lawyer for 20 years, and it's not fair to men in this system. What's your take on that? Because you came in when that happened.
Yeah, it's not fair at all. And I was kind of in and out, and so I didn't really hear the whole thing, but I heard that part. And it should be that if someone says something, we should evaluate it on the facts without listening to who it comes from, right?
Right.
But as humans, it's hard. And so if a woman would have said what he said, then there would have been a part of me that's just like, oh, she's ignorant. But I will be honest, to hear a man say that, it's like, oh, it hurts me a little bit.
Right.
It hurts me a little bit more, right? And I can acknowledge it. I can acknowledge that shouldn't be the way, that shouldn't be how it is. But God, to hear a man say that, because it's so wrong. It is so wrong. And let me just back up and say this, guys. Our judicial system, this is one of the great things about this nation, about this country. Our judicial system is completely open. And if you are really just like this gentleman, I don't know what his name was, but if you really want to learn how divorces are handled in the United States, you can go downtown to wherever you are, downtown in your city, and go to court and just sit there and watch a divorce case. You can go to where they're having child support hearings, and you can sit there in the morning and watch 30 child support hearings. You can watch it with your own eyes. You don't have to show a pass. You don't have to pay any money.
Nope.
Now it's even better because of with all of these restrictions, because of what was going on in the nation. And in a lot of counties, you can just get online, right? You just click a link and they will zoom it into you, right? And they'll just say, hey, you can watch this for free. Please don't record it, but you can sit here and watch it all while you're at work for free. So the information is out there. The information is out there. And it would have been one thing if this brother had said, well, you know, I'm from another country. I don't really know how things run. Right. But for him to give these blanket statements, and I'm not sure, was it him that said that he had won his custody case without an attorney? And
no, that was Mr. Fantastic.
That was Mr. Fantastic. Okay. Because something that he said was, you know, what I got out of it was like, you know, I won it without the help of an attorney.
All that money, yeah.
Yeah. So so other people can do it too. Like, I think that's exactly wrong too.
Say, please, because before you say what you're gonna say, I looked up the stats and I even said it to that dude that's a male feminist. 17.5% men, not just black men, just men as a whole, in 2017 got custody of their kids. And that's the same thing that Jason Black had, the guy on there saying he was a man from a different cloth and he in California, he still got it. I'm like, nah, bro, the statistics don't lie. You just slipped through crack.
A man from a different cloth. That's crazy. That's like, I mean, that's like me going down to the gas station and really thinking about 6 numbers, really thinking about them. Like spending 10 minutes in the gas station thinking about numbers, and I write these numbers down, and then I win the lottery. And then I go tell guys, hey guys, all you got to do is just really think about numbers. You guys are doing the quick picks, right? You guys are being lazy. No, all you got to do is just think about the numbers, right? See, I know how to think of numbers because I'm from a different cloth, right? I'm cut from a different cloth. All you guys got to do is just be right. And it's not true. Are there men who can win custody? Yes. But a lot of that is because, listen, and this is what you don't hear about too. There are some moms that are terrible moms. Everybody's like, oh, you know, every mothers are good and fathers are bad. No, I have represented terrible moms. I have represented mothers who got their parental rights taken away, where it's just like, please represent this dude or this lady so we can just say that, you know, someone was there, because the stuff that she committed was outrageous. And when she shows up to court, they have to bring her from the jail. She shows up in an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs, and she does the whole termination of parental rights hearing in handcuffs because of what she allowed to happen to that child. And so there are absolutely going to be men that are going to win custody because look who the mom is, right? The mom's on crack rock. The mom's on meth. Of course you're going to win custody.
He's abusive.
Absolutely. What you really see is moms who will leave their 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids for a new man. That happens quite frequently, right? A new man will show up, and now the mom's like, no, this is my ticket, and forget these kids. Or when and this happens a lot of times when they're younger, when the boyfriends are in the mid-20s to late 20s, you know, the boyfriend starts getting fresh with the kids, and mom starts choosing the boyfriend over the daughter, right? So are there going to be cases where men get custody? Absolutely, because some of these mothers aren't worth anything.
Right, but the percentage is not high at all.
It's terrible. It's terrible. You almost have to hope. You almost have to hope that you get a woman on crack rock before you can get custody. So it's not like you're going to get custody because you're cut from a different cloth. It's not like you're going to get custody because you were well prepared. It doesn't have anything to do with it.
Right. That's them fake pro-black simp enforcers that jump to these fake queens defense. Shout out to Cal for the $5 donation. New here, love the channel. Appreciate you, my brother. You can't make this shit up, bro. But you're gonna continue to hear in the society that's the reason he ain't try to fight. He didn't do his part. He didn't know the laws, and you know, he just lazy. Want to give a shout out to Reginald for the $4.99 donation. I should be mandatory for all 15-year-old boys to go to court to see how the judge will extract cash from their ass. Disney loves is a pipe dream. You ain't never lied, brother. Shout out to you, my brother.
Yes, I've been saying that, and this is what I say. This is what I say to all these mothers. I had a mother on my. She was in my comment section, and she was arguing with another guy. So the mother and the guy were arguing back and forth, and the mother said something that really touched me. The mother was like, you don't know me. And you don't know my son. I think that the son was 7. And she was like, my son is never going to be a deadbeat dad, right? And that touched me because it shows that the women, a lot of men, but also these women, they just do not know how easy it is to be a deadbeat dad. They don't know that being a deadbeat dad often has nothing to do with your character as a man. It has to do with the unfairness that's in the system. And you cannot say that if you don't, only deadbeat dads are only the bad men. It's not. You can be a good man with a good job and find yourself screwed over with child support. Like we're talking about the man who's making 50 grand, which is a lot of money for a black man in this country, but he's really working hard. So now he's making 80. Now he can't make the 80 because, they cut his overtime or he lost his second job. And now he's got a debt for child support. Right? He's not a deadbeat, but the child support system screwed him.
He dead broke.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So what men need to understand is, and women too, is that you really must, you really need to understand that the system is unfair. And so if you are a mother, and let's say you're an older mother, let's say you're a 24, you've got a 24-year-old son, you should absolutely take your son to talk to a divorce attorney just for 1 hour. And not only for child support, because so many guys get screwed over in the divorce process. Child support can be different from a divorce, but it can also be included. And so your son needs to know how the whole family law system works, and he will get a great value out of just 1 hour. I'm not saying come to me. Just go to an attorney in your city. Take your son to an attorney's office. Pay the little $200, $300. It will absolutely be worth it. And, you can give this to your son as a graduation gift for college. And if you're aggressive, you can give this to your son as a graduation gift for high school, for graduating high school. Hey, you're 18 years old. Here's $300. Psych, take it right back. I'm giving this $300 to a man that's going to tell you how to avoid some of the traps that men often fall into.
And that's why I got this contact out for that reason. It's a lot of men on here, and I ain't gonna say a lot, but there's some men out here that don't even have to follow this platform, and they seeing the light. This shit is real.
Yes. So the guy's point in the super chat is absolutely well taken. No matter where you get the information from, if it's from an attorney, if it's from Mr. Palmer, if it's from Uncle D, it doesn't matter. If it's Judge Vonda, get the information from somewhere, because it can save your life. It can absolutely save your life.
Yeah, and save you money too.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to give a shout out to Wavy for the $5 donation. I don't know. This is the second time he said it's a couple of days ago. He sent a Cash App. It's like when he sent a Cash App, this time the money went through, but I couldn't see if you said anything. I don't know what's going on. But shout out to you. I did see the $5 donation, Wavy. Appreciate you, my brother, once again. Let me ask you a question, brother. For what's your response or what's your thought when a lot of black men sit back and say that it's only hurting the black man when it comes to child support? Now, on my platform, I tell people that it doesn't matter what color you are when you go in that courtroom. If you're a man, it's the gender bias system. On that, when it comes to that system, it's not racial. It's about color, which is green, not about you being black. What's your thoughts now when they say, man, it's just hurting the black man, it's just hurting us? What's your thought?
You're absolutely right. Your perspective on it. I mean, and just simple mathematics, if we are only, 10 to 12, 13% of the nation, that means there's a lot of white men out here getting divorced, getting put on child support. And so that's exactly right. So if child support is going to affect you, if you're a man, it's going to affect you whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Asian, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're Ethiopian, like it doesn't matter. If you are in this country and you are on child support, you are going to be affected no matter your color, no matter your race, no matter your religion, your creed, it doesn't matter. If you are a man, you are going to get it. So you are exactly right. Now I will say this. If I'm trying to help them out. And this is what all divorce attorneys sees. There are people on child support who are fine. I mean, it just happens. I represent, I represent people who, you know, they're on child support. You know, maybe the number is a little higher than what the father wants, and it's a little lower than what the mother wants, right? Because the mother wants more. But, you know, it's more or less a fair number. And you say, listen, this is how much you make, this is how much she makes, this is how much child support is going to be. Are you fine with it? A lot of guys will be like, fine, you know, whatever, it's fine. And they pay it, and there's no problem. But and don't get me wrong, there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of cases like that. But on the other hand, there are also hundreds and hundreds of thousands of cases where men are just being destroyed by the child support. So you say, well, what's the difference between these two groups? What is the difference between a man who is doing well on child support is fine and a man who is being destroyed? Right. And what it is it's the income. It's the income. You know, if you're Halle Berry and you're paying $18,000 a month of child support, you're not going to be bankrupt, because Halle Berry, you know what, she was making like $2 million a year, right? And so even if your child support is high, usually if you're making enough money to support it, you're fine. There are a lot of men who are paying $3,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $1,700 a month, but if they've got the money to pay it, it's okay. Where the disaster happens is where the guy's paying only $600 a month, but he doesn't have it. You know, he's paying $715 a month, but he doesn't have the money because he's poor. That's where the problem comes in. So if they're saying that Black men are typically poorer in proportion, maybe to white men, because we struggle because of all of the reasons that Black people struggle. Yes. Then exactly. Then to that extent, we suffer more than a white man. I can understand that. Because if you have a white man and he's making $125,000 a year, child support, you know, 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, he's gonna have the money to pay it. But for the brothers out here making $37,000 a year and they got 2 kids, they're gonna get eaten up.
Facts, 100%. Good question from one of my brothers from the East Coast, Kadeem. I think he's from the East Coast. He said, the lead attorney, what are your thoughts on BMTs, baby mama tears, who put the man on child support out of spite because of the relationship didn't work out, or the marriage?
I see it all the time. And unfortunately, the system allows it. You know, it's a thing. It used to be a thing way back in the day. It still happens, of course, but when it came out, this whole driving while Black, right? Mm-hmm. And what that basically means is a police officer wants to pull you over because you're Black, but that can't be the reason, right? A police officer can't pull you over because so maybe he really wants to give you a ticket. He wants to pull you over, maybe, and search your car, but he needs a reason to search your car. So maybe you're going 3 miles over the speed limit, so he uses that. Or maybe he'll say you have a tail light. He'll use that. And the system allows him to do it. The system will say, hey, even if this cop wanted to pull you over because you were Black, he had a reason to do it because you were speeding 3 miles over, so we're going to let it go. The same thing in this situation. Even if the mom wants to hurt you because you cheated on her or because the relationship doesn't work out, if you got a kid with her, she can do it. The system allows her to punish you in that way because she can always open up a child support case against you.
So at any time, I was gonna say at any time, she could say, "Well, I'm gonna do it 5 years later."
5 years later, 16 years later, it doesn't matter.
Don't matter.
It doesn't matter. That's absolutely true.
Let me see. I'm not sure if I did it, but just because I didn't, Marvin Smith filed out a donation. I love this knowledge. Building the mind can save future fathers to be blessings to the game. Shout out to you, my brother. I don't think I read it. I'm looking. The bill say he sent a super chat. I don't see it. He said he had a super chat question. I don't see it, brother. I don't see it.
Yeah, I had a stream the other day, and I
try to find everybody super chat.
I do the same way.
Yeah, but when the dialogue's so good, I'm not really looking. That's why I appreciate Gail and Game of Lives Matter for what they do.
Yes. Shout out to Gamer Lives Matter. Shout out to Gail.
Yeah. But man, let me ask you this for all, and I know you hear this, what's your thoughts and your opinion on a lot of the majority of society, feminism, baby mama terrorism, that sit back and say that the reason why these men are on child support, the reason why they're not out here getting custody because they don't want to be fathers, they deadbeats, low lives, they're not fighting, they're not doing what they supposed to and all that stuff. What's your take on that?
It's just not true. It's just not true. Are there men who don't want to have anything to do with their kids? Yes, because there are women who don't want to have anything to do with their kids. There are people. Men and women are just people. All right. There are bad parents, both men and women. And so if a woman says or a guy says, oh, these men, they don't want to have anything to do with their kids. These people obviously have not had the experiences that I've had of representing mothers who are in court in handcuffs and chains, right? Because they have a criminal case going on, but they're in court today to get their parental rights terminated, right? You can't just focus on bad parents and then just say men, because women are right there too. They are absolutely right there too. So that's the first thing. Second thing, fighting for custody. In Georgia, fighting for custody is probably something that let me take that back. In Georgia, fighting for custody is something that most men should not do. Should not do it. Because you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose. If you fight for custody in a normal case, that shows that you are thinking emotionally and not logically. Men, we pride ourselves on being logical. And most men are logical. So the fact that you have most men not fighting for custody shows that men are being logical when confronted with an unfair system. Men should not be out here just throwing down $30,000 to make a statement. A lot of times you'll see women who will cut their nose off to spite their face. What they'll do is they'll insist on a point. They'll hurt themselves to hurt you.
Yes.
Right?
Anything to make you suffer.
Yes, and that is something that men should not do. Men should not spend $30,000 just to be able to tell their neighbors or tell their friends that they fought for it and lost. That's not smart. You can use that same $30,000 to pay the damn child support, right? Yeah. Instead of paying it to me. What are you giving me $30,000 for? And now you're struggling with your child support. The smart thing to do in the vast majority of cases, if your mother is an okay mom, why are you going to spend $30,000 to fight for it? And certainly, if your mother is a great mom, what are you doing?
Right? It's not great, but just from the look and all that,
Absolutely. Whether she's great, whether she's good, whether she's average. Yeah, the only time you really have a chance to really fight for custody is if she's bad. And there are bad mothers out there. There are, that 10% out there that maybe you can get it. But it's really a sign and I'm telling you this, guys, I'm telling you this because I have men show up to my office every day wanting custody because they don't know. And it's fine. I show up to a mechanic. I don't know what's wrong with my car. I'm not a bad person for it. There's no shame in showing up to an attorney's office saying, hey, I'm mad, I want custody. But the attorney's going to have to talk to you, and it's going to be a 20-minute conversation that's going to be a downer. You're going to be very disappointed after you hear what this attorney has to say to you. But then once I tell you my 20-minute spiel on maybe why you shouldn't fight for child support, and then you don't fight for child support, well, then people want to turn around and laugh at you, say, "Oh, you didn't fight for child support. You didn't spend the $30,000. You didn't pay the lead attorney's mortgage, right? For the $30,000." You have to understand and trust in your attorneys. If your attorneys have been doing this for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they tell you, you don't really have a case, you need to listen. Now, I have told clients that they didn't have a case and they insisted on it. And we went forward, because I'm representing you. I'm in your corner. If you say you want to fight, well, let's fight. But when we're in that fight and we're losing, Don't ever look at me like, what's going on? I thought this was going to go different. No, you didn't think it was going to go different. Really, the time when you need to be suspicious is when the attorney says, hey, give me 10 grand and I'll promise you that we're going to get custody. That's when you need to be suspicious, right? Because that attorney's gonna look at you 7 months down the line, like, no, you know what? This isn't really going that well. We need to go ahead and settle. And you're gonna say, what happened to my 10 grand?
And you know what? That's the unfortunate part. The majority of these lawyers, and I'm only going about a lot of the men, the people, the one I dealt with, and a lot of people who got lawyers, they're not going to say the things that you just said. They're not going to say, hey, man, I could bring you up in here and get your $5,000, but you ain't going to make it. Why even bother? No, they're going to say, well, give me 5,000, we can make it work, and I'll do so-and-so, so-and-so. See, that's the problem. A lot of lawyers is not going to tell you the truth. And that's why I'm out here putting out this content so people can really know the truth and the reality, the downsides, the downhill, where you will get to the point where you want to commit suicide or want to commit homicide. You need to know this, and you need to really realize, is it really worth it? Because you get in that hole, it might be a hole that you can't get out of. And that comes to that question that the bell said earlier. I read it earlier. You might have didn't hear it, but I read this comment. I'm reading it again. The Bell did a $5 donation in the super chat, and he said, in your 20 years, have you experienced a man taking the laws in their own hand after exhausting all his resources trying to fight a losing battle? And the lead attorney said, no, he never went through it. At first, he didn't understand, and I told him to rate Courtroom. And he said, no, he never experienced it. But I can tell you this. It was a brother on Facebook that I known for a year, a white guy, and he was a single father, but he committed suicide. He did his last post. This was in 2019 or the beginning of 2020. He had custody of 2 of his kids, but he's paying child support for 1. He was so much in the hole. He was getting loans, but when he actually get the loan, the interest was too far more than the loan, and he committed suicide and posted that his kids would be better off without him. And so, yeah, I can say I know about that hands-on. And like I tell y'all, white men commit the most suicide due to alienation and child support than as Indians. We're not in the top 3 or 4 or 5. But when it comes to that, white men are number 1 and Indians are number 2. And every year it's 20,000, if not more now, because of child support and alienation. But they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to put it on the news. They do not want to tell this. They want you to shut your mouth like a Kaiser Soze. You don't exist. And I have to give you your props, brother, because I'll tell you, and you still work for the system. Lawyers ain't going to talk like that. They just going to tell you, yeah, it's not right, but you have to do X, Y, Z and give me $3,000 in the blunt amount, and I got you.
You're right.
But again, I've been saying this, and I'm still going to keep saying it. I'm glad you came on this show because you can't make this shit up, because they still will sit back and even after this, they're going to say, nah, it ain't true. And nah, it's because y'all ain't trying to be fought. You heard the male feminists that came on there saying, men ain't doing what they supposed to and everything. But like I said, I'm for the minority.
Yeah, I mean, it's so the way that they phrase it, really the problem is the word fight, because it seems like, men, we have all this masculinity and men should be fighters, men should be leaders. And so when they phrase it like this, when they say, should you fight for custody, it's coloring the whole question, and it's already kind of putting you on the back foot. What they really need to say is, should you make a bad investment, right? Because that's what 20 grand is to your attorney. It's an investment. And when it's in your divorce case, well, you might need to spend 20 grand. You might need to spend 40 grand. But to try to get custody against an average mom, that's a bad investment, right? And so the whole question needs to change. I mean, and the way that they call it fighting for custody, really, that whole phrase, fighting for custody, should have a bitter taste coming out of every man's mouth. But because we say it so frequently, we miss the whole point. To say that a man has to fight for 50-50 custody of his own children should be a slap in the face to every man, to every single man. That's like you buy a house and you have to fight to live in it after you bought it. Like, it's yours. It's your house. Why do you have to fight for anything that's biologically yours? You went half in on that kid, so you shouldn't have to fight to get half of what's yours. Why is it that you never hear the mothers have to fight for five? Why is it that you never hear the mothers have to fight for 50-50? The mothers start out at 50-50. And really, in most cases, they start out at 80.
Oh, they want sole custody, man.
Exactly. They're starting out at 80, trying to get that last 20%, right? And so the fact that a man has to even fight for 50-50 custody, you know, if like the guy on the show today was talking about, oh, you know, I think he was pretty proud of himself to have to fight for 50-50 custody, but it's really a slap in the face of our gender, that we even have to fight just to get what's ours. We have a 50% interest in our daughters. We have a 50% interest in our sons. Biologically off the rip, we have equal amounts of rights to these children, but we have to fight just to get half of it. It's ridiculous.
Exactly.
And then again, so if anybody says, you know, men don't fight for their kids, I would just change it and say, you know, well, do men make bad investments? Right? Is that what's? But see, this is a perspective that the normal people don't get. I get this perspective because I get men coming in offering me thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get something that I know they're not going to get. So I have to tell them, you're making a bad investment. Men, what men pride themselves on doing is being able to separate the logical from the emotional. Now that's very difficult when it comes to our children, but we've got to do it, and we're able to do it. And most men in Georgia are like, hey, I'm not going to spend 30 grand to lose 30 grand. Right. I'm not, you know, it would be different if you could assure me, lead attorney, that when I give you these 20,000, I'm going to get 50-50 custody. You would have a lot of men with 50-50 custody. Facts. The problem is no attorney can assure that. Right. Because you're probably not going to get it. Right. So that's what men need to understand about this whole phrase of fighting for 50-50 custody. It's ridiculous. The whole phrase is ridiculous.
Man, that's why I say keep your veins cold, wash your hands, and move on, man, because you're going to be one set up for failure. I want to give a shout out to Ricky Manor for the $5 donation. Please subscribe to him. Good brother. He's also controversial. He speaks the truth, though. He say people don't realize how deep the game is until it's too late. That's why I never enter family court without a lawyer present. Shout out to you, my brother. I got a question for you before you get off, and I didn't think to ask you this, and I should ask you this in the beginning. What made you become a lawyer? And not only become a lawyer, what made you go into family law?
Yeah, you know, I've always been good talking. All lawyers, you guys might not know this, lawyers cannot do math. If you pull out any lawyer, we are just terrible at mathematics. So, you know, if you're bad at math, then that means you're bad at science, and you're bad at a lot of areas. But usually, if you're bad in one thing, then you're good in another, right? If you don't find an interest in one thing, you find interest in another. So I was always interested in reading. I was always interested in going back and forth and arguing. So being a lawyer just came naturally to me. And family law, I've practiced some other types of law, but just to be honest, family law is something that I'm good at, and it's where my natural abilities lie. Most attorneys cannot be family law attorneys because you have to put up with so much emotion. You have to put up with so much BS from judges, BS from guardian ad litems, BS from opposing counsels. But I'm gonna be honest here. You got to put up with a lot of BS from your own clients. People coming in, you know, everybody's, you know, men and women, they come in and they just dump emotionally on you. They're crying. That's a lot to put up with on a daily basis, seeing people cry. Or people come in angry. People come calling you 7-8 times a day. She won't let me see my kid. Or like, you know, I'm scared that he's going to hit me. What can you do to protect me? All these different questions where you really don't have a lot of power. You're just an attorney, but people are looking at you like you have these godlike powers. A man will come in and get mad at me because I'm telling him I can't get him custody of his kids. And I want him to have 50-50 custody of his kids, but I can't get it. What do you want me to do? And so a lot of attorneys are like, hell no, I'm not putting up with this stuff every day. I'll just give me some contracts to draft, or I'll get some drug dealers off. But there are not a lot of attorneys who want to do this family law practice area, because you just put up with a lot of frustration, a lot of BS. You can do a great job. You can have a divorce case, and there are 5 or 6 different issues, and this man really loved his wife. But of course, we know that women file 70% of the divorces. So you fight 7 months, 8 months, and you get this guy a great result, and he's still upset because he's heartbroken, right? Whenever you do a job, just as anybody, if you do a good job, you want the person to be happy at the end. But a lot of men after these divorces, they're not happy. A lot of men after these child support cases, they're not happy. So you're dealing with someone who came to you and they were not happy. All through the case, they were not happy. And now that it ends, they're not happy. And a lot of times I'm putting up with that. They're not doing it. So it's difficult. But I'm super patient. There's a part of me that, and I've always been a patient person, at least with clients. And that's just where my natural abilities lie. And so even though I have done other types I've taken other types of cases, I've always had a family law stack of files, because just naturally that's kind of what I'm good at. But it is a lot of BS. It's a lot of things behind the scenes that you guys don't know about. And some of that's good that you don't know about all this BS, right? But that's with any job. You can talk to somebody working at Walmart and they'll tell you, let me tell you the BS that goes on in Walmart, right?
Yeah.
So that's with anything.
Man, I'm not gonna hold you no longer. So and I appreciate you. I want you to come back on here
anytime.
And also I'm gonna set up where you, Uncle D, Vonda B, we're gonna have a good dialogue. We're gonna talk about something in the law, man.
That's awesome.
Before you get off, please give me even though we've been posting your links, give them your information, how they can follow you, subscribe to you. We even post up the 101. Let them know all that.
Yeah, guys, I need to get on it, man. I don't really have a social media follow. I don't really have a Facebook. I got a little Facebook that's half done, so don't look on there. I got a little IG that's half done. I only got 4 posts. Last time I posted was probably a year ago.
I tagged you on the IG. I said, but that's all right. They know who he is.
I never look at it, man. So this is all I can do right now, this YouTube. One day I'm gonna get better at it and be able to push more content out. But right now, the only place that you can really follow me is the Lead Attorney. If you go there and just click on any one of my videos and go in the description box, you'll see my email address, and it's easy, just the Lead Attorney. And but yeah, if you want to reach out to me, if you want to subscribe, see what I got going on, you can just go to the Lead Attorney on YouTube, and I'm right there.
Hey, ain't nothing else to say, man. It's unfortunate. What's the thing that's unfortunate, that even they see this, even though they know the truth, they know what it is. You're hearing it from a lawyer. It's going to be some simp enforcer and some baby mama terrorist that's going to jump and still say that men are just not trying to be fathered. They're not doing. They just do. They're not going hard enough. They ain't fighting enough because they want you to so-called fight. So,
yeah, and let me say this too. A lot of women feel this way because they just don't understand. They would say, Michael Jordan didn't understand why his fellow teammates didn't play on his level. And that's because Michael Jordan was blessed with a certain amount of advantages. And so it doesn't surprise me when a lot of these women are like, oh, it's so easy. It's so easy. You just got to walk in there and get custody. That's all the women have to do.
They got it good too.
Exactly. That's exactly right. The frustrating thing though is when you hear it from the men. Like if the women don't really understand how hard it is for the men, fine, they're women. How much can you expect from them? Because they're not in our shoes. But when you hear that, like today, and I'm so glad you were on that panel to respond to these men and to clear up the misconceptions. When you hear men saying it, that's what terrifies me, and especially in the manosphere. In the manosphere, guys, should be a place where men support each other and help each other and give each other good information. Going around saying that prenups don't work. So now you got a 24-year-old and he's like, well, I want to get married because I'm blue pill, right? Lead attorney says 80% of men are blue pill. Mr. Palmer says 90% of the men are blue pill. I'm not ashamed, so I'm blue pill. I want to get married. But now the people in the manosphere saying prenups don't work, so I'm not going to get one. And then 13 years later, he's sitting in my office just crying. I gotta pass him a box of Kleenex because he's just crying because he didn't have the prenup, and so now the woman is just taking everything.
Let me ask you this, since you said that, because I have heard that they say, a lot of people say that prenups don't work because on Facebook when I first started, because I was doing the child support, but it seemed like child support goes along with alimony if you're married. A lot of white guys was telling me that they had prenups, but the woman used the tactic that I was forced, and he coerced me to do it, and the judge go along, believe it, rip it up, and then still get half his money. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, here's the thing. A prenup, guys, is just a contract, all right? And you can draft a terrible, terrible contract, or you can get a good contract and you can ruin it with your behavior. There are four things that you need, only four things that you need to get a solid prenup that will absolutely work and protect you. The first thing, though, and this is what I recommend, is to get two attorneys. Let's say I'm going to get married. So I have an attorney. I go to an attorney and I say, hey, I need a prenup. And that attorney says, fine. Go to your fiance, talk to her about the terms, and then tell her to get her own attorney. And then you tell me who her attorney is. And so fine. I go home and I say, hey, this is what I want in the prenup. What do you think? She says, this is what she wants. Fine. That sounds good to both of us? Then the attorneys talk. And so now that the attorneys talk, they both together, they draft the prenup. Right? They draft the prenup, or my attorney drafts it and then sends it to her attorney who just reviews it with her. Now, what has happened with that? What has happened when her own independent attorney has reviewed that 20-page document with her? Now she can't say she didn't understand it because a licensed attorney practicing in her state reviewed it word for word, read every single word to her. Now she can't say that she didn't understand all the clauses. Why? Because her attorney explained everything to her. By getting her own attorney, she cannot use the argument that she didn't understand it, that she didn't read it, that she didn't know what was going on. That's all you got to do. Any man who had the prenup thrown out was probably someone who tried to draft his own prenup without the assistance of any attorney. Right. So it probably didn't make sense in the first place. But all you have to do to avoid that argument that you heard that men are saying, just get her own attorney to review it. An attorney might charge you just $1,000 to review a prenup that's already drafted.
Yeah.
If a woman comes to me with a prenup that's already drafted, I don't have to do anything. $1,000 to me is a win. I'm gonna sit there for an hour and read her the damn prenup, explain everything to her. I just made $1,000 an hour. There are not many jobs where you can make $1,000 an hour.
Right.
But now she can't come back and say that she didn't understand it, because if they go to trial, I'm gonna get subpoenaed. Like, hey, didn't you meet with this lady? Didn't you tell her about the prenup? Didn't you go over it with her? Didn't you explain all the rights and the obligations that she had under? Yeah, I told her everything. That's it.
Now, I also tell guys when they do that with the lawyers and everything to record it. Can you do that?
Yeah. I mean, no attorney. I guess it depends on the attorney. Here's the thing. If I represent someone and I talk to them, our conversations are secret. And so no one has the right to know what we talked about unless the client wants them to know. So if a client comes to me and says, hey, I want to record the conversation, I don't have any problem with it. I just need to let them know that if you record it and let someone listen to it, let a third party listen to this, we lose our secrecy. We lose this privilege that we have. But you're paying for my time. You can record anything. You can absolutely record it.
Yeah, because you know they get amnesia and say, I don't remember doing that. I don't remember signing that. Yeah, he made me. Yeah.
Okay. You can absolutely do it.
Okay.
So the manosphere should be about helping people, but specifically helping men and giving men the correct information. Don't go around saying stuff like prenups don't work. Don't go around saying stuff like you can easily, or you can absolutely fight and win 50-50 as long as you're cut from
all the time. I'm trying to not true, man.
As long as you're cut from a different cloth, you can win 50-50. That's ridiculous. It's a joke.
That's that pro-black simp talk. But yeah, because I did it, and I tell people now I regret fighting. I said, and if I could go back, my uncle was 80 years old, told me, like, if I wish I'd have known, he's like, it ain't worth fighting. Just pay your child support. The kids know about you, and if they manipulate by her, then that's on them. That's their loss. And that's why I tell y'all, wash your hands, move on, man. I got sick behind that shit. I never.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine what your 24-year-old son would say. Let's say you have a 24, not you, Mr. Palmer, just in general. What will your 24-year-old son say if you take your 24-year-old son to lunch and you say, listen, I talked to an attorney and the attorney told me that I really wasn't going to win child support. I mean, I really wasn't going to win custody, but I ignored him because I wanted to prove a point to you. So I spent $40,000. I gave that attorney $40,000 and we fought for you and I lost. And so because I lost, they kept putting me in jail. And because I lost, I didn't have the money to pay child support all the time. So that's why they put me in jail. And I had my license kept getting suspended. But, you know, I wanted to prove that I was a good father to you. You know, that 24-year-old could look at you in the eye and say, you know, Dad, you're stupid. Dad, I don't know why you're going to pay somebody else $40,000 when you could have put that in a college fund for me, right? Or you could have used that $40,000 to pay my child support. Why are you trying to, right? Why are you trying to prove to anybody that and paying money for it? It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It just matters what's going on with you and me. Right. And you could have spent that $40,000 in some intelligent ways, but you gave it to some black attorney in Atlanta. Now you paying his mortgage, right?
And not only that, if they already manipulate, they don't care if you spend $100,000. You still ain't shit to them because they manipulate by that baby mama terror. So you still lose.
They want you to spend. They want you to spend $1 million and for you to go bankrupt, and they want to laugh at you.
Yeah.
So the smart money is not about fighting for custody. It's about making a good investment versus a bad investment.
Can't make this shit up, man. Hey, I'm not gonna hold you no longer, man. I really appreciate you coming on here. I want you to come back again. I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be the dream team or something. We're gonna have
that is the dream team right there. That is definitely the dream team right there.
We're gonna do this, man. We definitely gonna do it. I'm gonna set that up, man. We gotta do it, man. But I appreciate you. Y'all heard this from an attorney, and I thought you retired. He's still doing it, and he's telling you what to do and not to do. This is what it is. Don't ever come on my platform, not y'all, but don't ever come on my platform telling me I don't know what I'm talking. Well, they don't say I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't come me talking about men ain't trying to fight, men ain't doing what they supposed to, and this system is equal. They go by the most fair parent, and it's about what's right and all that stuff. Don't you ever come on my platform with that. Don't you ever come on my platform with that. But you is, but I'm glad, because I want y'all to look and see how stupid they really are, man or woman. I don't care who it is. And like I told y'all, this system is never going to change. It's a $51 billion business. We have to change ourselves and change the laws in our mind. I told y'all half these dudes that's in this black manosphere, bitch ass niggas. And that's what I'm saying. I stay away from the simple forces. It's more simps in this manosphere and outside than it is real men that's trying to put you on game. So when you hear people like the lead attorney, hear people like me talk about child support, I'm just here to tell y'all the truth. I ain't trying to hurt your feelings. I ain't trying to make you feel like you're a nobody. I'm trying to tell you the truth before you go into the trenches. You might still go through it, but at least you can't say, I did not know, because most of y'all say, ain't nobody tell me.
So, exactly. Like when you show up, when there are 7 people on the panel talking about child support, and then you show up and you get on the panel, those other 7 people need to shut up and just listen, because you have the knowledge. Everything that you are telling men is correct. Every single thing about how this child support system works. There should be really no one who's going to argue with you about child support, not because of the status that you hold. It's just the fact that what you're saying is right.
Right.
You know, and you're the only one out here who's been letting men know the dangers, just consistently the dangers of this child support system, how unfair it is, how it works, and how to protect yourself. Yeah. And I mean, the job that you're doing just in the whole manosphere is awesome. I mean, no one is doing it like you.
But you want to know what the problem is? What is that? I'm being slow today because you just can't make this shit up.
You can't handle the truth.
That's the problem. That's the problem, brother. They can't handle the truth.
That's exactly right.
These baby mama tears, they just society, and that's why I say they're not gonna side with us. They're not gonna side with you. That's what it is.
Yeah, like no one cares. No one cares about your child support. I did a video on the worst type of child support, which in my mind is in this country there have been boys on child support, and I'm talking about 12-year-olds on child support. I'm talking about 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds on child support. Like that's how much, like, you are a child yourself. You are 12 years old yourself. You are a victim. Let me tell you something, guys. I don't know if you guys know this or not. 12-year-olds are not allowed to have sex. And anyone who has sex with a 12-year-old, male or female, should be going to prison. Right? Now, if you are a man and you have sex with a 12-year-old, I don't even with a 12-year-old girl, I don't even need to tell you what's going to happen. That is exactly right. That is exactly right. But it seems like once a month we see the opposite, where these teachers, these women teachers, are having sex with these boys, but then nothing happens to them, or they get a slap on the wrist. Well, what you guys might not know is that a lot of times out of these relationships, children are born. And so what happens is the boys get, these 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds get placed on child support, and they have to pay their own victimizers. I don't want to say the R word, but that's what these boys have been. They are victims of the R word. Imagine if it were flipped. Imagine a 14-year-old girl having to pay a man every single month $700. A man that did the R word to her.
That ain't gonna happen.
It's inconceivable, but that's how they will do us. That's how they will do us. So I saw it in a comment about an hour ago. Someone, I think it was the Steel Curtain, said the system isn't about fairness, and it's not. It is absolutely not. It's just about what's in the best interest of the child / mother / state, right? It's really in the best interest of everybody but you. That's what the child support system is.
I'm gonna ask you this last question. I'm not gonna hold you up because you'll be on here all night, man, because I'm enjoying this. My boy Danny Gilmore, and shout out to people from Facebook who's coming over here, subscribe to my channel. This is where I do my work. That's why y'all don't see me on Facebook, because I'm trying to bring the family over here. He says it's child support. He said, is it child support constitutional in all honesty?
Listen, I mean, child support has been upheld in every state, right? But there is the argument that it's unconstitutional, and you can kind of go down the rabbit hole with this because you have what's called the sovereign citizens, and I don't know if you guys know about the sovereign citizens, but
I don't. Tell me, I don't.
Listen, I don't even really want to tell you, because a lot of times people get sucked into it, and it's convincing, but it doesn't work. And the sovereign citizens also come out with taxes. When you talk about tax reform, sovereign citizens believe that taxes are unconstitutional. Sovereign citizens believe that they should not have to pay taxes when they were born into the government. Apparently, they're saying that they were issued a social security number, which makes them a bond and not a person. Like it's like flat earther type of thing. No disrespect to any sovereign citizens, but the arguments are out there. The arguments are out there. So I don't really want to get into, whether it's constitutional or not on the sovereign citizen aspect. I will just say, though, there are men in every state in the nation, and in Guam and Puerto Rico and every other U.S. territory where it's been upheld, and men are paying for it. So you can assume that it's constitutional.
I got to ask this last question. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Check this out. what makes me different from a lot of these fathers' rights group is because a lot of them, and I don't knock it, they go out there to the state capitol once a year. They have them sign, they protest, they file, they stand defund child support, or they shake hands with the politicians, having meetings with them. But I tell people that it's not going to change. You can shake hands with them, get your notoriety, get your likes up and everything, get a look and a status, but it's not going to change them to change the laws or to defund child support or to reform child support and lose part of that $51 billion business. What is your take on that? The people that go out there thinking that protesting with only 10,000 people or 500 people or even 100,000 people is going to change the laws of child support.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I think it works. I think it works. I think it's slow, but it's working. And for example, let me give you an example. In California, for example, they will make a man pay child support, and the state will make a man pay child support, and the state will keep the money. That's how they do it.
Right.
And because of that, a lot of men don't pay because they're like, wait a minute, I've got 50-50 custody of my kids, but I have to pay $600 a month. And then the $600 that I do pay doesn't even go to my kids. It doesn't even go to the mama. It goes to the state, and then the state keeps it. And the state's like, yeah, we keep it because the mom's on government benefits. Well, I think it was Colorado that had the exact same program. And Colorado said, you know what? We're going to keep the program, and we're going to still take the money. We're still going to take the $600 from the fathers. But instead of keeping it, we are going to send 100% of the money to the mothers. We're not going to keep it. Well, when they did that change, the money fathers started paying again. The state collected so much more money. Fathers stopped getting incarcerated so much because they were actually paying their child support. And that change happened because of people lobbying. There are people lobbying in every state, and it's a slow process, so you don't ever hear them. And the fruits of their labor might only be shown after 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. But it is important. It is important. What we are doing, you and I, Mr. Palmer, we're on here and we're giving these people information that they can use immediately. But there are also men in the fight who are doing something that's long-term. We're doing something that's short-term and that's immediate. We're giving these men instant answers. But there are other men fighting on another part of the battlefield who are doing important things that take 5 years to show up, 10 years. I'll tell you right now.
Longer than that, brother.
There is a proposal in Georgia where there's a proposal in Georgia right now where the default is going to be 50-50. Now,
Illinois.
A lot of people think that it's not going anywhere, but let me tell you, you got to start somewhere. Right?
It's been on the table for 10 years in Illinois for this mandatory equal parenting time, and it's just sitting there because it's going to take the majority of people in Illinois to say, we want this. But as long as it's not the majority, that's why I say, like, while you doing all that, you need to change the laws in your mind because you don't know when this ever going to change.
I agree with you. That really, guys, change the law. Just like you say, I can't think of a better way to say it. Change it in your own minds. But there are a lot of committed people out there who are doing incredibly important work with the legislatures. And if that's their way to contribute, then I'm all for it. Some people come to me and they're like, "Oh, lead attorney, why don't you organize a march on Washington?" I'm like, listen, dude, that's not my way to contribute, right? I feel like I'm doing something important, but I have a lane here and let me stay in it. And a lot of people are like, hey, I don't like to be in front of the camera. I don't want to start a YouTube channel, but maybe I have some connections with the state government. Why doesn't that be my lane? Why don't I try to use my connections to work on that? So I say more power to those people. Don't look to me to start new legislation. Don't look for me to start a march on Washington. That's not my lane. I'm not going to do it. What I am going to do is try to put out information that you can do, just like you said, Mr. Palmer, so that these men can change the laws in their own mind. Because that's immediate.
Yeah, and that's what I'm on. Because by the time that happened, man, it'd be a whole generation. We'll be dead and gone if they make any type of change of equality or anything. I don't believe it ever gonna happen though.
It's slow.
Yeah.
I will definitely say it's slow.
Well, I appreciate you coming on the platform, man, and definitely want you back. We're gonna do a dream team interview. We got all the lawyers on here.
That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be a first.
Yeah, we're gonna
That's
set it
gonna,
up ASAP.
that's definitely gonna be a first. You know,
Probably on
there
a weekend or something with people. Y'all got time. We're gonna
sounds
do.
great. Sounds great. I'm ready. I'm
Okay,
ready. So
okay, my
thank you
brother.
so much for having me on your platform. I really appreciate it. And again, your platform is just so important. Men do not know what's going on, and your platform is giving them the information that they need to really protect themselves.
Yeah, definitely. Before you go, give me your information one more time.
Yeah, I'm just the lead attorney, and you can find me on YouTube at the lead attorney. That's about it. It's pretty. I'm not really anywhere else.
That's fine. I just want everybody to know, definitely please subscribe to his channel, man. He get out good content. He even talks about stuff like the Derrick Jackson and stuff like that. He's rated PG. Go holler at him.
Yeah. I try to give it to him soft with it. You hit him hard. You hit him hard, boy. You come right out at him.
I come with that hammer, man. I got to, man. They seem like they have to learn in that type of manner.
Yeah, and just like there's a place for us YouTubers, and there's a place for people working with the legislatures. There's a place for the soft guys, and there's a place for the hardcore guys on YouTube. We can all give our part in our own particular way.
Oh, most definitely. That's what I say. We just as good fighting and fight, just doing online. Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do other family court lawyers feel when you say these things to your clients, or you let it be known this is what it is? Because I know a lot of them is not telling the client. Do they look at you if they know? Do they look at you and say, "Man, you messed up the game, man. You getting people to turn away, and do you get any flack for what you do?"
Well, in terms of telling clients about how the child custody is, no. I mean, just because we all know,
like they ain't gonna say nothing like you. They're not.
Yeah, a lot of attorneys won't, but a lot will. Will, because at the end of the day, attorneys might want to lie to the clients, but then the lie's coming out. Right. So a lot of attorneys are like, it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it to lie to these people, because you don't want to get a reputation as an attorney of, just pay me $5,000 real quick. And then, 6 months later, we're going to have a conversation, because your name is going to spread for being a shiesty attorney, and you don't want that.
And
and so, but I will tell you, that a judge saw my YouTube.
Really?
Judge saw one of my YouTube videos, and was talking about how child support was fair.
Yeah, okay.
And what he specifically said was, he said that the child support system was not broken. And I told that judge, I was like, well, it's clear you haven't even watched the video, because in the video, it's so clear that the child support system is broken. But again, you got this judge on Facebook, and he wants everybody to know that he's in support of women, and he's in support of children, and he's going to act like the child support system isn't flawed. Right. So that's the issue with that.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, man. And I got your information. We definitely gonna set that dream team up. We're gonna do that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm ready. Just anytime. And again, thank you so much for having me on your show, and thank you so much for the fight that you're doing, letting these men know what the reality is, not what they're hoping, not what they're dreaming, not the fact that they're cut from a different cloth. You're letting them know what it is on the real, what it really is in the field.
Exactly, man. Okay, I appreciate you, my brother. We're definitely talking. I will, just in case, send Vanna be your email.
Please do. I really want to hook up with her too. And y'all had a great conversation. So I want to follow. I want to follow your lead. That was awesome.
Hey, that's what's up, man. You definitely have a good one. Be safe out there, man, and keep fighting that fight and keep telling the truth, brother.
Thank you so much. And y'all, you have a great evening. I really appreciate that.
All right, man. Y'all cannot, like I told y'all, I've been saying this from the jump. I'm glad you talked to an actual attorney, and he's one in a million, because a lot of attorneys not going to tell you this. But yet they say, you don't want to be a father. Who hurt you? You bitter, you sad, you mad. And like I said, the problem is,
you can't handle the truth.
These baby mama terrorists, these simple forces know exactly what it is, but they're gonna never go against the code. This brother right here went against the code. I didn't know he was still a lawyer. I thought he retired. And he's coming out telling you this. Now, I know a lot of y'all gonna say, fuck that, I'm gonna fight for my kids. It's not about it. It's a choice. You have the right to do as you please. But we just want to let you know what you're going into. I've been there, done that. And if I go back, I wouldn't have went that far. Because I see it for what it is now. You got to think with logic. You never got to keep your veins cold because a lot of shit going to happen that's going to hurt you, piss you off, and you got to keep yourself cool. You know, you have to tell your story because these baby mama terrorists want to set you up for failure. And if you is fighting in these trenches against these baby mama terrorists, you cannot show no mercy, no pity because they will not do it for you. If she's on her motherfucking deathbed, she's on life support, she's in the jail, you go to that court and get custody automatically. I don't give a fuck about her on her deathbed. You go to that court and get emergency custody. Fuck her. See, that's the difference between me and others. I'm going to tell you that's what you do. I'm not going to say pray for her and worry about that later when she get better. No, while she laying there fucked up with a vegetable, looking like a vegetable, you go to court and get custody. That's me. And I'm not going to change the way I talk and the way I say things because I want y'all to know the real. Like he said, them judges say it's fair and it's not about just, it ain't about the mother, it's about the best interest of the kid. And it's never about the best interest of the child. It's about the most best fit, which is family court, family law, the county, $51 billion crime bill. They are never going to change them laws. And if they ever do, we'll be dead and gone. So I'm glad y'all tuned in. I appreciate y'all. I know Game of Lives Matter said, you know, he's not guilty, but he ain't been charged with nothing. Actually, he just basically he's doing the Lord's work and he brought the Lord's work over here. And this right here is why I keep doing what I do. And this is why I tell y'all, keep y'all veins cold, expose these baby mama terrorists, tell your truth, and live your life to the fullest because you only live once. That's it. So I'm not gonna hold y'all no longer. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm gonna do that Dream Team segment where it's gonna be Dennis Sperling, Uncle D, Vonda B, Judge Vonda B, and we're gonna have the lead attorney. We're gonna do that. I don't know when, but I'm gonna set that up. I'm definitely gonna set that up. We definitely need to have a four-way dialogue to talk about this system and maybe some other things. It's some stuff I'm definitely trying to change. That's why I want people off Instagram and people off Facebook to come over here. That's where all the dialogue and the realness is gonna be at. And we all come to one accord because we have to change the laws in our mind. So for everybody who's coming on Facebook, coming over here, I appreciate y'all. People from IG, please subscribe because this page is growing by the hour. It's growing. People mad at me more and more and more. I got more females coming on here that's seeing a light, just like it did on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? It's not just a black issue. That's why you got white people commenting and everything. It ain't just a black issue. Just telling you the real. We have to come together as one, put our difference to the side, and change the laws in our mind and make change. Because as long as we keep that muzzle in our mouth, letting these simple forces continue to do the bullshit, they're gonna dance the jig and say that we lying and we don't know what you're talking about. So, like I say, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I love y'all. I may be on here tomorrow. I may not. I'm not sure. Definitely Sunday. I may be on here tomorrow. I'm not sure, but I will be on. If not, definitely I'll be on here Sunday. So I'm Mr. Palmer, and this conversation is over. You know how I say it. Fuck child support. Fuck these baby mama terrorists. Fuck these simple force, these fake ass pro-black motherfuckers coming to a bitch's defense. And I said what I said before. Yeah, the jig is up. So this conversation is over. Y'all be easy. Have a good weekend. Be safe out here. And court is now adjourned. Peace. Baby mama terrorists. BMT.
It's my baby mama. Almost child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay.
And yes, Walmart is always hiring for you baby mama terrorists trying to get some money. Walmart is always hiring. If you don't like Walmart, go to Amazon, bitch.
Baby mama terrorists. BMT. It's my baby mama. Almost child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama, almost child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama, almost child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama, almost child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. Round around, try to play the Romans innocent with an evil soul. In public, when fake their lows behind closed doors, to rock them horns. I'm moving on, trying to teach me a lesson. Can't see my kids, man, I'm stressing. Couldn't see my son to give me his present. She got married to teach me a lesson. Tell her she did nothing wrong. Knowing that well since I moved on, thought that nothing would keep me home. Hell no, bitch, I'm gone. I don't know what you lost your mind. Say my name, I know your kind. Say my bitch, you mine. Fighting in court, man, I'm trying to be a father to my kids. She focus on the wrong shit. Worried about another beat. Stand up, us for co-parent. Put my kids in grown folks' business. Tell them lies, bitch, you wicked. Split for not your yeah, you twisted. Never thought I'd go through this. My baby mama, almost child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama, almost child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama, almost child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup. It's my baby mama, almost child support. Can't see my kids, so I stay in cold. It's my baby mama, she be riding Lexus, finding sugar daddies, and doing setup.
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch. I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
bitch.